In the early years of the 1900s, near the Great Barrier Reef in Queensland, Australia, there lived a seasoned fisherman named John Andrews. John had spent many years at sea, his skin tanned by the sun and his hands rough from the ropes. He knew the waters like the back of his hand, navigating his small wooden canoe efficiently and skillfully. This part of the ocean was his home, where he felt at peace amidst the waves and the salt air. One day John set out into the open sea, just as he had done countless times before. The sky was clear and the water was calm, making for a perfect day of fishing. As he paddled further from the shore, John couldn't shake off the stories he had heard from the other fishermen in town. They spoke of a legendary great white shark, known by the locals as the Phantom of the Deep. This shark was unlike any other. It was considered unusually large and aggressive, with a history of attacking boats that ventured too far into its territory. Despite the warnings, John was not afraid. He had faced many challenges at sea and believed his experience and resourcefulness would keep him safe. He cast his net into the water as he reached his favorite fishing spot, hoping for a good catch. Hours passed, and John enjoyed the solitude and the rhythmic motion of the sea. However, his peace was shattered when he felt a sudden, powerful tug on his canoe. Startled, he saw a dark shadow moving swiftly beneath the water. It was the Phantom of the Deep, the legendary shark, coming straight for his canoe. John's heart raced as the shark circled closer, its massive form visible below the surface. He knew he had to act quickly. Grabbing his oar, he tried to paddle away, but the shark was too fast. It rammed into the canoe with a mighty thud, nearly tipping John into the water. The struggle for survival had begun. John fought to keep his balance, knowing that falling into the water would mean certain death. The shark circled back, its eyes fixed on John and his canoe. With each pass, it seemed to grow more aggressive, determined to overturn the small boat. John remembered the tales of the shark's attacks on other boats. It was said that the Phantom of the Deep had never been defeated, its strength and ferocity unmatched by any creature in the sea. But John refused to give up. He used his knowledge of the sea to his advantage, maneuvering the canoe in ways that made it difficult for the shark to predict his next move. The battle between man and beast continued as the sun began to set. John's arms ached from the effort, but he did not relent. He knew his only hope was to outlast the shark and wear it down until it lost interest. The sky turned orange and then pink, the beauty of the sunset lost on John as he fought for his life. The shark, relentless in its pursuit, seemed to sense John's determination. It was a test of wills, a battle of endurance between the seasoned fisherman and the legendary Phantom of the Deep. As the first stars appeared in the sky, the shark made one final desperate charge at the canoe. John braced himself, ready for the impact. But at the last moment, the shark veered off, disappearing into the ocean's depths. John was left alone on the open sea, his canoe intact but his body and spirit exhausted. He had survived the encounter with the Phantom of the Deep, but he knew the night was not over. He had to make it back to shore, back to safety. The journey home would be long and treacherous, but John was determined to see it through. As he paddled towards the distant lights of the coast, John couldn't help but wonder about the shark. Had it indeed given up, or was it waiting for another opportunity to strike? The encounter would become a tale passed down through generations, a testament to the fisherman's courage and the legend of the Phantom of the Deep. The night was silent as John Andrews continued his journey back to the coast of Queensland, Australia. With each stroke of his paddle, he moved further away from the open sea and closer to safety. The encounter with the Phantom of the Deep had taken its toll on John. His muscles ached and his mind was weary, but the thought of reaching home strengthened him. As the moon rose high in the sky, casting a silver glow over the water, John reflected on the day's events. He had faced the legendary shark and lived to tell the tale. It was a story that would indeed be passed down through generations, a testament to his bravery and the mysterious creature that lurked in the depths of the Great Barrier Reef. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, John saw the familiar outline of the shore. Relief washed over him as he realized he was almost home. As he approached the beach, the lights of the small fishing village came into view, welcoming him back from his harrowing adventure. John dragged his canoe onto the sand, his legs shaky from exhaustion. He looked out at the sea one last time, half expecting to see the dark shadow of the shark. But the water was calm and the shark was nowhere to be seen. However, John knew that The phantom of the deep was still out there, a reminder of nature's untamed wildness. Word of John's encounter with the legendary shark spread quickly through the village. People gathered around him, eager to hear his story. John recounted his tale, describing the shark's massive size and strength, and how he had used his wits and experience to survive. Fishermen spoke of the encounter in hushed tones, a reminder of the dangers that lurked beneath the waves. But for John, the experience was more than just a tale of survival. It reminded him of his connection to the sea, a beautiful and terrifying force. As the years passed, John continued to fish the waters of the Great Barrier Reef. He never again encountered the great white shark, but he always kept a watchful eye on the horizon. The sea was his home, a place of endless mystery and adventure. John's story was a cautionary tale for those who ventured into the deep waters. It reminded them to respect the ocean and its inhabitants, to understand that humans were just visitors in a world that belonged to creatures like the phantom of the deep. The legend of the great white shark lived on, symbolizing the untamed beauty of the Great Barrier Reef. And John Andrews, the seasoned fisherman who had faced the beast and lived, became a part of the sea lore, his name forever linked with the legendary Phantom of the Deep. In the end, John's encounter with the shark did not deter him from the sea but deepened his respect for it. He knew that the ocean was full of wonders and dangers, a place where stories of bravery and survival were written in the waves. John Andrews had become a part of that story, a reminder of the indomitable spirit of those who call the sea their home. Not long ago, three friends named Jack Turner, Sam Johnson, and Leo Clark embarked on an epic fishing expedition. These coastal residents of Massachusetts, who had a great love for fishing, decided one sunny morning in 2011 to try deep-sea fishing. Inspired by tales of large fish caught in distant waters, they sought their adventurous catch. They found a fishing boat that was perfect for them and launched it out into the sea where the sun shone bright, and the waters were as clear as glass. Talking and laughing together, they shared memories from past fishing trips as well as hopes and plans of what fish they hoped to catch today. After sailing far from shore and into waters where the green turned to deep blue, they started their fishing expedition. They cast their lines into the waters, hoping for an incredible catch. Hours passed without much action except a small fish that didn't quite fit what they had imagined in this adventure. Yet they didn't give up hope, enjoying both sea air and the excitement of waiting. At first it seemed unreal, but suddenly a huge shadow appeared beneath their boat. Before anyone could guess what it could be, out jumped a 23-foot great white shark. Like something out of a fantasy tale, this shark crashed onto their boat violently, shaking it violently. Jack shouted urgently as their boat started taking on water, aware that they had limited time. Their vessel was sinking quickly. At the same time, what had once been their ally turned into their adversary, with giant sharks circling and waiting. Fear gripped their hearts, yet they knew they needed to act quickly. Sam shouted with firm conviction, despite his alarm, refusing to give up. To lighten the load and stop the sinking, they began throwing overboard items they found heavy. At the same time, Leo attempted to patch up any leakage he found using whatever means possible, though only as a temporary solution. As the sun began to set, their situation worsened even further. Instead of appreciating its beauty, they found themselves trapped in an endless nightmare. Their surroundings turned darker, the waves crashed around them, and only distant seabirds called. Leo exclaimed, trying to sound brave, that they must stay together and remain calm. They decided that each member would take turns watching out for sharks and bailing water from the boat. Their fishing trip had turned into a struggle for survival. While they had intended to catch big fish, now they were in mortal peril due to an unpredictable shark lurking below, waiting to strike at any chance it got. Yet they didn't lose hope. Together, they knew that they could overcome any challenge presented. As night fell and stars emerged, the sea calmed somewhat, but their struggle remained. Their small boat barely floated amidst rising waters as they wondered what morning would bring. Their adventure had taken an unexpected turn that they never could have predicted. As they watched the night pass, they realized this would become one they would always remember, an unforgettable story that put friendship and courage to the test as the danger posed itself. They persevered until the sun came out over the horizon. As the dawn broke, Jack, Sam, and Leo felt renewed hope. Their night had been difficult, with sharks making several close passes by their boat. But somehow they managed to keep it afloat. Knowing they weren't completely out of danger yet worried them. But seeing the sunrise gave them renewed optimism. Their boat had taken some damage, and much of what they had brought had been lost overboard, yet all 3 occupants remained alive. While it appeared that the shark had vanished into the night, they knew it still lurked nearby in deeper waters, waiting to strike again at any opportunity. They quickly formed a plan for returning to shore. Still, their boat had barely any movement due to damage from the shark attack, rendering it virtually unusable for sailing purposes. So they took turns paddling with whatever tools could serve as oars available, knowing it would be an exhausting journey back, but committed to seeing it through no matter what obstacles may lie in their way. As they paddled along, they discussed what they would do once back on land. Jack joked about never deep-sea fishing again, but knew this experience had changed them, confronting their fears head-on and working together to overcome them. It had become more than just fishing. It had become a testament to survival and friendship between friends. Now, with calmer waters, progress was more straightforward for them. They could see land in the distance, a sight which brought great relief and determination as they paddled with all their might towards a safe destination on land. After what felt like an eternity, they eventually reached the shore, exhausted, hungry, thirsty, but alive. Stepping onto the beach, they looked back towards the sea with memories of the monstrous shark that had transformed their adventure into one they would long forget. They realized their lives would never be the same after this experience. Having come face to face with one of nature's fiercest predators and survived to tell about it, they decided to share their story as a warning for others about its perils. In the following days, their story made headlines, captivating people with their remarkable resilience against all odds. Friends became closer than ever due to this shared ordeal that tested both courage and will to survive. The great white shark that had attacked their boat disappeared from those waters. Some believe it has moved onto other seas, while others think it still lurks beneath Cape Cod waves, serving as a reminder of nature's unpredictable and often dangerous beauty. Jack, Sam, and Leo returned home, forever changed by their deep-sea fishing expedition. At the same time, they expected an adventure-filled experience to emerge from this experience. Instead, a remarkable tale of survival, friendship, and the human spirit would unfold over time, serving as an inspirational testament to what can be accomplished when united together against common challenges. In the year 1997, along the serene yet deceptive coastline of South Africa, an extraordinary and formidable presence cast a shadow over the celebrated marine beauty of the region. An immense great white shark, known for its rare size and unusual aggression, patrolled the waters, turning into a feared figure among those who navigated these seas. This creature, notable for its extraordinary size and unusual aggression, was a legend among the local seafarers, casting a shadow of fear over the otherwise peaceful waters. In the small, charming coastal town of Hermanus, renowned for its whale-watching and vibrant fishing community, the crew of the fishing vessel Serenity's Edge prepared for their daily sojourn into the sea. The ship's captain, the seasoned Jacobus van der Merwe, dismissed the tales of the monstrous shark as mere folklore designed to intimidate inexperienced sailors. He was joined by his trustworthy first mate Liam Botha, the ingenious engineer Siphon Kosi, and the eager deckhand Peter Gronewald. Each man, armed with his unique talents and motivations, was ready to brave the unpredictable sea. They embarked at dawn, with the sky painted in hues of orange and pink, signaling the hope of a prosperous day ahead. The sea was remarkably calm, and for hours the journey proceeded smoothly. The crew worked in perfect synergy, pulling in nets filled with their catch, reveling in the routine success of their venture. However, this peace was violently disrupted when an immense force suddenly struck the Serenity's Edge. The legendary great white shark, the subject of whispered rumors among Hermanus's fishermen, attacked the boat with devastating force, tearing it in half. The sea became a whirlpool of chaos, filled with floating debris, equipment, and fish, as water flooded the gaping hole in the vessel's side. In the wake of the attack, the crew was seized by panic. Captain Jacobus, maintaining his composure, rallied his men, emphasizing the need for survival as their boat began to sink. Stranded amid the wreckage, they realized they faced a twofold threat. Not only the merciless sea, but also the great white shark, which seemed to view them with a cold, predatory interest. With their fishing boat destroyed and rescue far off, the men were forced to face the harsh reality of their situation. Clinging to remnants of Serenity's edge for flotation, they confronted the dual dangers of the cold and the prowling shark. Jacobus encouraged his crew, stressing the importance of unity and calm in their dire situation. In the wake of a devastating assault that cleaved their ship in half, the sailors found themselves in dire straits, isolated amidst the vast sea with a mammoth great white shark stalking them. Initially overwhelmed by turmoil and dread, Captain Jacobus van der Merwe quickly understood that their chances of survival hinged on their ability to stay composed and formulate a cunning strategy to thwart the shark's encroachments and last until help could reach them. Realizing that being in the water heightened their risk, the first strategic move by the sailors was to limit their time submerged. They salvaged wreckage and debris from the Serenity's edge, cobbling together an improvised raft to stay as out of the water as possible. This maneuver not only shielded them from the chill, but also lessened the odds of drawing the shark's gaze. Drawing from his deep-seated knowledge and experiences with sharks, Captain Jacobus advised his crew to eschew sudden or splashy movements which might lure the shark. They were to act with intention and silence, conserving energy and diminishing their footprint in the shark's realm. The crew resorted to a technique scarcely tried but often whispered among seafarers known as shark smudging. This entailed utilizing fish remnants from their previous catch scattered in the debris to concoct a thin trail of scent leading away from their raft. The aim was to baffle the shark's olfactory senses and divert it from them, securing precious time and distance. To ensure unity, they fastened themselves to the raft and one another with ropes found in the ship's remnants. This practice not only kept them from being separated, but also presented a collective bulk that might appear more intimidating to the shark, potentially dissuading it from striking. During the night, they took turns on the lookout, mindful of the fact that sharks tend to be more aggressive during twilight and dawn. The lookouts would softly tap the water's surface with debris, generating vibrations intended to keep the shark at bay, predicated on the belief that sharks could be wary of consistent and unfamiliar disturbances. As the temperature dropped, they drew close for warmth, repurposing any materials at hand for insulation. This was crucial for fending off the cold and for keeping their spirits and alertness high, essential when their defense strategies needed swift execution. To fend off despair and maintain a hopeful outlook, they exchanged tales of their personal lives, concentrating on uplifting narratives and the anticipation of rescue. This psychological approach was pivotal for managing their fears and sustaining a mindset geared toward survival, vital for overcoming the psychological hurdles posed by their plight. With the break of day, when glimpses of the shark's outline became sporadic, the crew undertook a daring yet measured gambit. They used a shiny piece of debris to cast abrupt beams of light, aiming to bewilder and disorient the shark. This innovative tactic, predicated on the hypothesis that sudden stimuli can deter sharks, granted them brief intervals to regroup and strategize. Understanding the necessity of signaling for assistance, they crafted a signal for distress using vibrantly colored garments and reflective items. By affixing these to the raft's highest point, they enhanced their visibility to passing vessels and aircraft. In an ultimate display of resourcefulness, they converted the battery from the boat's emergency beacon, salvaged from the ruins, into a primitive spark creator. This enabled them to light a small fire on a metal platform, sending smoke signals by day and serving as a beacon by night. Their collective endeavors, spanning the physical, mental, and emotional realms, wove a fabric of camaraderie that stood as their paramount asset. Each strategy, from the pragmatic to the psychological, was bolstered by a mutual resolve to survive and a profound grasp of the adversities they confronted, not solely from the shark but from the ocean's vast expanse. The arrival of the rescue helicopter on the horizon was not merely a sign of their physical endurance, but a tribute to their indomitable spirit, strategic wisdom, and steadfast desire to prevail. The saga of the Serenity's Edge crew emerged as a stirring narrative of human creativity and tenacity against one of nature's most fearsome creatures. Following their rescue, the individuals saved from Serenity's Edge were immediately engulfed in a storm of healthcare services, marked by both a sense of urgency and a detailed focus on their specific needs. As soon as they were on board the rescue helicopter, a specialized medical team leaped into action, providing first aid that was both groundbreaking and highly effective. This initial treatment merged age-old medical insights with the latest advancements, aiming to stabilize their conditions amid the noise of the helicopter blades. They were swaddled in sophisticated thermal blankets, combining reflective materials with low-power electric heating, carefully restoring their body temperatures to normal to counteract the hypothermia that had trapped them with its cold, unseen grip. To address dehydration and imbalances in electrolytes, IV fluids, heated to just the right temperature, were given alongside immediate, reassuring psychological support to soothe their shaken spirits. Upon landing, the rescued crew was rapidly transported to a medical facility, where a team with varied specialties but a singular focus awaited. There, the healthcare provided went beyond the standard. Wounds were treated with dressings infused with nanotechnology to speed up healing and fend off infections, taking advantage of the body's natural healing processes while protecting against external dangers. For those with more serious cuts or injuries, an innovative method using a biodegradable adhesive hydrogel was used, closing wounds accurately and fostering tissue growth without stitches. The mental health support was just as pioneering. The individuals were introduced to a virtual reality therapy regimen crafted to help them navigate their traumatic experiences in a supportive, regulated setting. This personalized program used immersive environments to assist them in working through their trauma, fostering mental toughness and healing. Throughout their healing journey, the Serenity's Edge crew members were treated not merely as patients, but as trailblazers in the realm of trauma recovery, benefiting from a mix of empathy, innovation, and scientific knowledge. This strategy not only tackled their immediate physical and psychological injuries, but also established a solid foundation for a thorough recovery of both mind and body. Their rescue signaled not the conclusion of their harrowing experience, but the start of their path to wellness, steered by some of the most sophisticated healthcare methodologies available. The tale of the Serenity's Edge crew's survival against a colossal shark captivated the nation, becoming a symbol of human endurance and the unpredictable might of nature. For Jacobus, Liam, Sifo, and Peter, this ordeal was a pivotal moment. This trial forged an unbreakable bond among them. The rogue Great White, the catalyst of their near demise, remained at large, its myth only amplified with each retelling. This event underscored the profound mysteries and hazards lurking in the ocean's depths, demanding respect and invoking fear in those brave enough to traverse its waters. Mike and Ethan were longtime friends who embarked on an incredible fishing expedition together in Gansbai, South Africa's deep blue waters and diverse marine life. For months prior, they had planned this excursion, eagerly anticipating an idyllic fishing experience in the open ocean. Their small boat, Serenity, named by them affectionately after its modest yet sturdy build quality, was ideal for exploring this vast sea space. The morning had come, with its golden light casting a golden glow over the water and the promise of fishing success ahead. Mike, an experienced angler, expertly piloted their boat and guided it towards their favorite fishing spot. Ethan prepared their gear eagerly and baited hooks like he had spent numerous weekends fishing near shore. As they reached their prime location, a sense of tranquility swept over them. All that could be heard were gentle waves lapping against their boat and distant seagull cries, casting their lines patiently until one took hold before enjoying the peace and serenity of the ocean. After some time, Ethan's rod twitched, signaling the first catch of the day. With eagerness and excitement, he gripped tightly as Mike offered support as Ethan battled his unseen catch below the waves. Eventually, with one final triumphant throw of his rod, Ethan brought up a sizable fish shimmering under sunlight. Mike and Ethan's success could have been more lived. The blood from their catch seemed to draw unwanted attention. An unseen shadow began circling beneath their boat, growing closer with each pass. Mike and Ethan exchanged worried glances, realizing the gravity of their situation. A massive great white shark had taken an interest in what had come their way, drawn by the scent of blood. They knew of sharks in these waters, yet had never encountered one so close. Watching in silence as a great white circled with immense size and power was a stark reminder of their vulnerability. Yet they managed to remain calm while hoping not to provoke the predator. Without warning, the massive shark lunged from its depths to impact with serenity. The force of impact was tremendous, sending Mike and Ethan flying off their boat as it capsized, sending shockwaves through them as their sudden situation dawned upon them. They plunged into cold waters that only intensified as time passed. It took several moments before reality set in, and their circumstances became fully realized. Scurrying to the sea surface, they found themselves submerged by turbulent waves. Only their overturned boat could protect them. Meanwhile, an unsettled shark continued its vicious circle around them, its dorsal fin cutting through the water with deadly accuracy. Mike and Ethan desperately clung to their capsized boat's hull as much as possible in order to stay above water, sensing they were in an urgent situation with a relentless predator stalking from below, and an expansive ocean that seemed increasingly vast and lonely, promising no rescue at any cost. As they waited for the shark's next move, the friends realized they must fight to survive. Not only were they fighting against elements such as cold water and waves, but there was also the great white shark lurking threateningly nearby. Mike and Ethan were determined not to succumb to despair, so they set about devising a plan. Though their chances were slim, their bond formed through years of shared experiences provided strength in times of difficulty. Their friendship became their strength as they faced incredible odds together. As the sun began its slow descent towards the horizon, casting an orange glow over the sea, Mike and Ethan realized time was running out for them. The shark continued its relentless patrol around their capsized boat. Serenity, its interest undiminished. Meanwhile, the temperature decreased quickly as time progressed, creating the threat of hypothermia alongside the predator lurking below. Even as their fear and discomfort increased, the friends refused to give up. Instead, drawing from an endless source of courage, they focused on devising a plan. Mike remembered reading about staying as still as possible to avoid drawing attention from sharks with sudden movements. Together, they worked on stabilizing breathing and conserving energy, while knowing rescue may take hours before coming in. Ethan kept scanning the horizon in search of any sign of help, aware that their chances were dwindling as daylight dimmed, yet unwilling to give up hope. Before leaving home, Ethan and his friends took safety measures by notifying their local marina of their planned route and estimated return time. Perhaps someone would realize their overdue arrival and initiate a search effort. As darkness descended over the ocean, stars lit up the sky, providing just enough illumination so they could still see each other. Unfortunately, due to the reduced visibility of its dorsal fin, the shark's presence became even more frightening, and every noise and movement sent adrenaline coursing through their veins. Ethan expressed the worries consuming his thoughts, his voice trailing off before he could finish his sentence. Mike, with firm resolve, emphasized the importance of prioritizing their survival. He pointed out that while sharks are naturally curious creatures, they are not invincible. The key, he suggested, was for them to stay calm, make themselves less appealing, and maintain a low profile to avoid attracting the shark's interest, trusting that help would arrive eventually. Their resolve was put to the test when the shark made an unexpectedly close pass and made contact with their boat, almost brushing against its hull. Maintaining utmost stillness, they held their breaths, striving to minimize any movement. With bated breath, they endured this tense moment until, at last, the creature drifted away on its own accord. Time seemed to pass slowly as hypothermia set in, their shivers becoming uncontrollable. They huddled closer for warmth, talking non-stop about memories, regrets, and plans to keep spirits high while taking their minds off their grim situation. Finally, during the darkness before dawn, a beacon of hope broke through. An alerted search boat was approaching. Its engine produced one of the most beautiful sounds Mike and Ethan had ever heard. They used up their last shred of energy by shouting for help with hoarse but hopeful voices. After their ordeal, as they recuperated on land, the friends made a pact to continue seeking adventure in the ocean, but with greater respect for its power and dangers. Their experience had taught them the value of preparation, hope, and unbreakable bonds of friendship. In the warm, inviting waters of the Belize Barrier Reef, Nicole White, a marine ecologist, embarked on a purposeful mission. Alongside her team, she aimed to revive the coral reefs, these underwater rainforests teeming with life. Their work in the Caribbean, planting corals and finding ways to prevent further damage, had spanned several months. As dawn broke, splashing the sky with vibrant oranges and pinks, Nicole's team set sail, buzzing with anticipation for the day's efforts. The Belize Barrier Reef, with its transparent waters and rich marine life, was a sight to behold. Nicole, deeply connected to the ocean, was committed to safeguarding its splendor. Arriving at their designated site, the team got down to business, planting corals and monitoring the ecosystem's health under Nicole's guidance. Their task required precision and a soft touch. United by a passion for conservation, they tackled their mission with determination. However, an unforeseen challenge emerged. A reef shark, drawn by curiosity and a sense of guardianship over its home, started circling the area. While shark sightings were common in these parts, this particular shark seemed unusually focused on the humans disrupting its territory. Nicole's initial reaction was fear. Sharks, after all, are powerful beings, but she also respected their role in the ecosystem. Choosing observation over panic, Nicole sought to understand the shark's actions. The situation escalated when the shark, perhaps viewing their work as an intrusion, approached aggressively. Its powerful form cut through the water, coming dangerously close. Nicole, maintaining her composure, instructed her team to stay calm and avoid sudden movements so as not to provoke the shark further. But despite their caution, the shark's behavior turned confrontational. It darted towards one of the divers, brushing against him and leaving a shallow cut on his arm. The team was in shock. Nicole knew they had to act swiftly to prevent further incidents. Utilizing her knowledge and experience, Nicole directed her team to form a tight group and slowly retreat to the boat. She grabbed a nearby piece of coral debris and tossed it away from them, diverting the shark's attention. The shark, momentarily distracted by the debris, allowed them a moment to escape. This harrowing encounter was a wake-up call. Nicole realized the delicate balance they were disturbing and saw firsthand the consequences of their intrusion. The team's safety was her top priority, and she knew adjustments were needed to continue their work without endangering both the marine life and themselves. Back on the boat with the injured team member receiving first aid, Nicole reflected on the incident. It was a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of working in such a wild environment. The team's efforts to restore the reef had inadvertently put them in harm's way, highlighting the need for more cautious, non-invasive methods. The shark attack shifted Nicole's perspective. She understood that their presence in the reef was not merely about restoration, but about coexisting with the marine inhabitants. The balance of the ecosystem was fragile, and their actions had consequences. That evening, as Nicole pondered their next steps, she felt a mix of emotions. The day's events had tested their resolve, but also reinforced their commitment to the reef's preservation. Nicole knew they had to find a way to work in harmony with the ocean's creatures, respecting the home they were striving to protect. This incident spurred Nicole to research and implement non-invasive conservation techniques. She became an advocate for approaches that minimized human impact on marine ecosystems, ensuring that future restoration efforts would be safer for both her team and the reef's inhabitants. As Nicole looked out over the reef, the stars twinkling above, she realized the journey ahead was filled with challenges. Yet she was more determined than ever to make a difference, armed with a deeper respect for the ocean and its complex web of life. After the shark incident, Nicole's perspective on coral restoration underwent a profound transformation. The encounter served not just as a reminder of the ocean's unpredictability, but also as a crucial lesson in humility and coexistence. Determined to ensure the safety of her team while minimizing their impact on the marine ecosystem, Nicole initiated a series of changes to their restoration practices. First, she organized workshops on safety and emergency response for her team, focusing on how to act during encounters with marine wildlife. She emphasized the importance of understanding shark behavior, reducing panic, and using non-threatening maneuvers to retreat safely. Nicole also invested in safer, less invasive equipment that would not disturb marine life as much, ensuring their work was quieter and less disruptive. To further minimize their impact, Nicole introduced a system of rotating work zones, allowing parts of the reef to rest and recover while they focused on other areas. This approach not only reduced stress on the ecosystem, but also allowed the team to monitor the progress and health of the coral more effectively. Nicole's commitment to non-invasive conservation techniques caught the attention of the broader conservation community. She shared her experiences and insights at conferences, advocating for approaches that respected marine life's intricacies. Her story of the encounter with the shark and how it reshaped their mission inspired others to reconsider their methods, sparking a shift towards more mindful and respectful conservation practices. Meanwhile, back at the reef, the changes were bearing fruit. The areas where Nicole's team worked showed signs of recovery, with new coral growth and an increase in fish populations. The shark, once a symbol of the challenges they faced, now seemed to keep a respectful distance, its behavior a reminder of the delicate balance they were working to preserve. Nicole's team, now more experienced and mindful of their impact, continued their work with renewed vigor and respect for the marine environment. Their efforts were a testament to the idea that humans could indeed contribute positively to the ocean's health, without causing harm. Years later, the Belize Barrier Reef showed remarkable signs of recovery. The coral was thriving, fish populations were up, and the ecosystem was more resilient. Nicole's encounter with the shark had become a pivotal moment in her career, a story she often shared to highlight the importance of respecting and understanding the ocean's inhabitants. As she stood on the deck of their boat watching the sun dip below the horizon, Nicole felt a profound connection to the ocean and its myriad forms of life. The journey had been full of challenges, but it was also immensely rewarding. She had learned that proper conservation was about more than just restoration. It was about harmony and respect. Nicole's work on the Belize Barrier Reef was a reminder to all that conservation efforts must be thoughtful, respecting the delicate balance of ecosystems. The story of her and her team's evolution, spurred by a single encounter with a reef shark, echoed a powerful message: coexistence is possible and the key to successful conservation. The legacy of Nicole's work, marked by a dedication to non-invasive techniques and safety, continued to inspire future generations of marine ecologists. The vibrant and full-of-life reef stood as a testament to what can be achieved when humans work in harmony with nature, respecting its guardians and learning from its lessons. In the serene waters of the Great Barrier Reef, Emily Harris and her brother, Michael Harris, embarked on a peaceful fishing trip under the golden Australian sun. The year was 2021, and the siblings had rented a modest boat for a day of tranquility and bonding. They had chosen a secluded spot known among locals for its rich marine life, but untold by any map, far from the bustling tourist trails and closer to nature's untouched beauty. Emily, a schoolteacher from Sydney with a passion for marine biology, was thrilled at the chance to combine her love for teaching and the sea. An amateur photographer, Michael, was equally excited to capture the stunning landscape and vibrant underwater world. The reef, with its myriad colors and bustling aquatic life, was the perfect backdrop for their adventure. As they settled into their spots, the gentle lap of waves against the hull and the distant calls of seabirds set a calm rhythm. Emily baited her line with practiced ease, casting it into the clear azure waters, while Michael adjusted his camera settings, eager to document their expedition. The morning passed with the siblings sharing stories and laughs, occasionally reeling in small catches, which they released after admiring the beauty of each fish. The sun climbed higher, painting the sky in brilliant hues of blue, and the water around them sparkled like a sea of diamonds. But as the day wore on, the tranquility of their outing was shattered by an unexpected visitor. A shadow loomed beneath the surface, growing more ominous as it approached their boat. Emily's line tensed suddenly, and she braced herself, thinking she had snagged a significant catch. However, the reality was far more startling. Without warning, a massive shark, its mottled gray skin and scars witnessing its battles, breached the water's surface. Its powerful body slammed onto the deck with a thunderous crash, its jaws snapping ferociously. The siblings froze in terror, the shark's dark eyes locking onto theirs, a primal fear gripping their hearts. Emily's mind raced. She knew they were in a precarious position. The boat, barely sturdy enough for their leisurely fishing, now rocked violently under the shark's weight. She glanced at Michael, his face pale, his camera forgotten at his side. Emily formulated a plan based on her knowledge of marine life and a sudden surge of adrenaline. She remembered reading about sharks' sensitivity to touch in certain areas and their reliance on the element of surprise. She shouted to Michael, instructing him to distract the shark with his camera flash while she searched for something to defend themselves with. The confined space of the boat became a battleground. Michael, recovering from his initial shock, began flashing his camera at the shark, its eyes recoiling with each burst of light. Armed with a sturdy fishing rod, Emily aimed for the shark's gills, knowing it was a vulnerable spot. Their struggle was intense, a dance of survival where every move could be their last. The shark thrashed violently, its tail smashing against the boat's sides, threatening to capsize them. Emily and Michael worked in tandem, their fear mixed with a fierce determination to protect each other. As the sun descended toward the horizon, casting long shadows over the water, the siblings found themselves in a precarious stalemate with the beast. With each passing moment, their situation grew more desperate. The shark's relentless energy contrasted with their waning strength. The struggle between Emily, Michael, and the shark intensified as the sun lowered, casting an orange glow over the water. The small boat's once peaceful deck was now chaotic, with fishing gear strewn about and the shark's powerful movements threatening to send them all into the water. Her resolve hardening, Emily knew they couldn't maintain this standoff much longer. Her mind raced for a solution, recalling every knowledge she had about sharks. She remembered a documentary she'd watched, detailing how some sharks, when flipped onto their backs, enter a state of tonic immobility, a temporary paralysis. It was a long shot, but it was their only chance. She shared her plan with Michael in hushed, urgent tones, aware that their window of opportunity was shrinking with the fading light. Michael nodded, understanding the risks but trusting his sister's judgment. They decided that Emily would continue to fend off the shark with the fishing rod, aiming to disorient it, while Michael would use a spare oar to leverage the shark, attempting to flip it over. Sensing their movements, the shark became more aggressive, its tail slamming against the boat with enough force to crack the wooden planks. Water began to seep in, adding another layer of danger to their dire situation. Emily and Michael exchanged a look, understanding the stakes had just risen. Their survival now depended not only on subduing the shark, but also on keeping the boat afloat. In desperation and courage, Emily jabbed the fishing rod towards the shark's gills again, causing it to reel back. Seizing the moment, Michael positioned the oar under the shark's massive body, pushing with all his might. The shark, caught off guard by the unexpected maneuver, flipped onto its back. For a brief moment it lay still, its underbelly exposed to the fading light, its eyes glazed over in tonic immobility. The siblings didn't waste a second. Michael quickly secured the oar to ensure the shark remained in place, while Emily grabbed a bucket to start bailing out the water flooding their boat. Their actions were swift and synchronized, born of a lifetime of camaraderie and mutual understanding. As the last rays of the sun vanished below the horizon, the shark began to stir, its immobility wearing off. But by then, Emily and Michael had managed to stabilize the boat and were ready to escape. They carefully navigated around the still disoriented shark, using their remaining oars to propel the boat towards safety. The journey back to shore was tense, with both siblings keeping a vigilant watch over the water. The experience had changed them, the close encounter with the shark leaving a mark on their psyche. They spoke little, each lost in their thoughts, the gravity of their situation sinking in. As they finally reached the safety of the shore under the cover of night, they looked back at the water, the moon reflecting off its surface. The shark was nowhere to be seen, having disappeared into the depths of the Great Barrier Reef. The siblings shared a relieved embrace, thankful for their escape but forever altered by the ordeal. While terrifying, their harrowing experience brought them closer together, forging a stronger bond than ever. They returned to their lives, Emily to her teaching and Michael to his photography. But the memories of that day remained, a reminder of their survival and the incredible story they had lived to tell. In the far reaches of the Arctic, near the icy lands of Svalbard, Norway, Kevin Gilbert, a brave documentary filmmaker, embarked on a thrilling adventure. His mission was simple yet daring: to capture the rarely seen Greenland shark in its natural, icy habitat. Kevin had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the deep, and his latest quest was this elusive giant of the Arctic waters. The Greenland shark, a creature of legend and mystery, thrives in the cold, dark depths of the Arctic Ocean. Its ability to survive in such extreme conditions has intrigued scientists and adventurers alike. With his camera and insatiable curiosity, Kevin hoped to shed light on this mysterious creature, bringing its story to the world. As Kevin arrived in Svalbard, he was greeted by the stark beauty of the Arctic. The landscape was a vast expanse of white, with towering glaciers and frozen seas stretching as far as the eye could see. The air was crisp and cold, biting his skin, but Kevin felt excited. This was the kind of challenge he lived for, an opportunity to explore the unknown and share its wonders with the world. Preparing for the expedition was no small feat. Kevin and his team gathered their equipment, checking and double-checking everything they would need for the ice diving expedition. Special suits to withstand the freezing temperatures, cameras capable of capturing images in the low light of the Arctic waters, and safety gear for the dangerous conditions under the ice were all essential. Every detail had to be perfect. There was no room for error in such a harsh environment. Finally, the day of the dive arrived. Kevin's heart raced with anticipation as he donned his diving suit, feeling the moment's weight. This was his chance to meet the Greenland shark, a creature few had ever encountered in its natural setting. The dive team reached the designated spot, where the ice was thick enough to support their equipment but allowed access to the water below. They cut a hole in the ice, revealing the dark, freezing waters of the Arctic Ocean. Kevin took a deep breath, steadying his nerves, and then, with a nod to his team, he descended into the icy depths. Kevin was enveloped in a world of cold silence as he sank beneath the surface. The light from above faded, and he switched on his underwater camera, its beam cutting through the darkness. The water was so cold it seemed to press against him, but his suit protected him from the worst. He swam slowly and conservatively, aware that every movement used precious energy and oxygen. The underwater landscape was otherworldly, with towering ice formations and a dim, eerie light that filtered through the ice above. It was a beautiful but foreboding place, reminding Kevin of the dangers that lurked in these waters. As he ventured further, Kevin kept his eyes peeled for any sign of the Greenland shark. These creatures were known to be slow-moving and elusive, often blending into the dark waters, making them difficult to spot. Kevin moved cautiously, his camera ready to capture the moment he had been waiting. Then, out of the shadows, a shape began to emerge. At first, it was just a darker patch in the gloom, but as Kevin approached, the outline of the Greenland shark became clear. It was an awe-inspiring sight. The massive shark moving slowly through the water, its eyes a ghostly pale. Kevin's heart pounded with excitement and fear as he realized he was witnessing one of the Arctic's most mysterious creatures in its natural environment. He raised his camera, capturing when the Greenland shark swam past him. Being so close to such a powerful creature under the ice was a tense and dangerous situation. Kevin knew he had to keep his wits about him, maintaining a safe distance while still trying to get the needed footage. The encounter was brief but unforgettable. As the shark disappeared into the darkness, Kevin was left with a profound sense of awe and respect for this giant of the Arctic. He had come in search of discovery and adventure and found it in the icy waters of Svalbard, face to face with the elusive Greenland shark. As Kevin Gilbert ascended from the icy depths back to the surface, his mind raced with the images he had just captured. The encounter with the Greenland shark, an elusive and mysterious creature, was more than he had dared hope for. As he emerged from the water and was helped back onto the ice by his team, the cold air hit him, but the thrill of the dive insulated him against the chill. He had achieved what he had come to the Arctic for, but his adventure was far from over. Kevin and his team gathered at their base camp to review the footage. The images of the Greenland shark were mesmerizing, a ghostly presence in the dark waters beneath the ice. The team was ecstatic. They knew they had something special. Footage that would captivate and educate the world about one of the Arctic's most secretive inhabitants. However, the encounter under the ice also left Kevin with a deep sense of humility and respect for the extreme conditions of the Arctic and the creatures that call it home. With its slow, deliberate movements and ancient eyes, the Greenland shark seemed like a guardian of the deep, a living link to a world still largely unexplored and unknown. Kevin's thoughts turned to the challenges facing the Arctic and its inhabitants. Climate change, melting ice caps, and human activity all impacted this fragile ecosystem. He realized that his documentary had the potential to do more than just showcase the beauty and mystery of the Greenland shark. It could also highlight the importance of preserving this unique environment for future generations. With a renewed sense of purpose, Kevin and his team set out to capture more than just footage of the shark. They documented the stunning landscapes of the Arctic, the icebergs, and the wildlife, weaving a narrative that connected the Greenland shark to the broader story of the Arctic's delicate balance. They interviewed scientists and conservationists, adding their voices to the documentary to provide context and depth to the story they were telling. Kevin felt mixed emotions as the days passed and their time in Svalbard ended. He was proud of their work, but also acutely aware of the responsibility that came with it. The Arctic had shown him wonders and dangers, beauty and fragility, and he was determined to share these with the world in a way that would inspire action and care for the planet. The journey back home was a time for reflection. Kevin thought about the Greenland shark, a creature that had survived in the Arctic for centuries, perhaps even millennia. It had adapted to its environment, thriving in conditions that would be hostile to most other life forms. There was a lesson there, Kevin thought, about resilience, adaptation, and the need for humans to respect and protect the natural world. When the documentary was finally released, it was met with acclaim. Viewers were captivated by the footage of the Greenland shark and moved by the story of the Arctic's beauty and vulnerability. Kevin's encounter under the ice had become a powerful message about discovery, adventure, and the importance of conservation. For Kevin, the experience had been life-changing. He had set out in search of adventure and discovery. He had found it in the eyes of the Greenland shark, the vast, icy Arctic landscapes, and the stories of those working to protect it. The documentary was more than just a film. It was a call to action, a reminder of the wonders that existed in the world, and the responsibility to preserve them for future generations. As he looked forward to his next adventure, Kevin knew that the Arctic, with its harsh beauty and mysterious inhabitants, would always hold a special place in his heart. The Greenland shark, the ghost of the deep, had left an indelible mark on his soul, a reminder of the wild, unexplored corners of the planet that still held secrets waiting to be discovered. In recent memory, there was a courageous woman named Rachel Adams. She loved sailing more than anything and had big aspirations of sailing across the Atlantic Ocean on her own from the Bahamas to the Canary Islands. An ambitious undertaking even experienced sailors often found difficult. One morning in 2001, Rachel began her voyage aboard the Sea Whisperer with great anticipation. Everything on board had been carefully considered. Food, water, and all necessary tools had been packed safely away. As she waved off to shore with mixed emotions of anticipation and nervousness behind her, she felt prepared for what lay ahead, ready for adventure and ready to embark. Rachel enjoyed an idyllic start. The sky was blue, the sea calm, and Rachel felt free and happy as she navigated across this vast ocean. She saw dolphins and flying fish with sunsets that rivaled any she had witnessed before. At night, stars filled the night sky, guiding her path homeward. But one day, everything changed. Rachel noticed dark clouds gathering overhead and waves becoming rough in the ocean. Although stormy conditions weren't new to her, Rachel prepared her yacht so it would remain safe in case there were any stormy conditions ahead. This time, though, it wasn't just weather she had to worry about. Amidst the growing waves, Rachel caught sight of a massive shape in the water, a formidable tiger shark. The shark, with its cold, calculating eyes, began circling her yacht, a stark reminder of the intelligence and danger these predators possessed. Rachel was all too aware of the reputation tiger sharks had for being both smart and dangerous, particularly when provoked or threatened. The situation escalated as the shark, seemingly undeterred by the presence of the yacht, launched a sudden and aggressive attack. With astonishing force, it rammed into the vessel, its powerful jaws and sheer mass causing significant damage. This unexpected assault not only intensified the peril Rachel was already in, but also highlighted the urgent need for her to address the breach in the boat's hull to prevent it from taking on more water and potentially sinking. Rachel found herself not only fighting the storm, but also this relentless shark. Rachel's communication tools stopped working, leaving her without help available to call on. Although feeling alone and afraid, Rachel reminded herself she was strong and smart and refused to surrender without a fight. Rachel developed a plan. She needed to prevent the yacht from sinking and find ways to keep away the shark, using buckets to drain off excess water from within the vessel while finding some temporary repairs for its hull, all while the shark waited, ready to strike at any moment. As night fell, Rachel found herself exhausted but determined not to give up. She knew she must survive until morning, when there might be more time and opportunity to figure out a way out from under the shark's threat. Although stars were hidden behind clouds and the sea was angry, Rachel's spirit remained undamaged. She thought back on why she began this journey, not just crossing the ocean, but proving that she could conquer her fears, as well as this shark and storm were part of her story. Determined to make this one that would end in triumphant survival for herself and those close to her. Rachel had spent the night fighting to remain alive, keeping the water at bay and watching for signs of the shark. She prayed that dawn would bring new ideas, a way out from under this nightmare. Rachel Adams felt renewed hope when the first rays of sunlight broke through the dark clouds and revealed themselves, giving her renewed strength after an exhausting night fighting against the waves and being threatened by the tiger shark. Although exhausted from her battle to stay afloat and still alive with her yacht, the Sea Whisperer. While the storm had passed and left calm waters behind it, still lurking below were signs of danger from beyond. Rachel knew there would always be danger just below the surface. That shark lurked silently behind the waves, ready to resurface at any moment, making Rachel nervous. Rachel knew she couldn't relax her guard. The shark had damaged her yacht, leaving it without communication systems to reach for help between the Bahamas and Canary Islands in the vast Atlantic Ocean. But Rachel wasn't one to give up easily. Resourcefulness had always been one of her hallmarks, so now, more than ever, she needed all her skills for survival. Rachel remembered reading about sharks losing interest if they could not get what they desired. Hence, Rachel decided to make the yacht less appealing to sharks by gathering any spare material, pieces of metal, or other hard objects she could find, banging them together to create noise, and hopefully dissuade them from approaching. As she worked through the day, Rachel diligently repaired the yacht as best she could, using waterproof sealant to temporarily patch any leaks in it and rigging a makeshift sail from spare fabric as shark attacks had severely damaged its original sail. All this to ensure her survival. Rachel noticed something was different when the sun reached its highest point. The shark, who had been her constant companion for months now, suddenly disappeared without explanation. Though Rachel wasn't entirely certain why he hadn't returned yet, she took advantage of this moment to rest her body while her spirit remained undiminished. Rachel knew time was of the essence, so she quickly set sail toward the Canary Islands using stars and her compass as guides. Without communication systems in place, she couldn't alert anyone of her situation. Still, she hoped that either another vessel or landmass might help her detect it. Rachel continued on her voyage slowly but steadily, conserving food and water as best as she could to last until safety could be reached. Although the shark never reappeared, its memory lingered with her. It kept her vigilant at all times to defend both herself and her yacht against possible attacks. After what seemed like an eternity at sea, Rachel finally saw land. It was the Canary Islands as planned. Rachel had done it. She had crossed the Atlantic Ocean alone while encountering a tiger shark, and she survived. When she docked at her marina, people rushed over to help her, impressed by her story of survival and courage. Rachel had endured an ordeal that was far greater than she could ever have anticipated. Yet she emerged victorious from it all. Her story became known far and wide, inspiring others with its courage and resolve. Rachel realized after this journey was complete that it had altered both herself and the world forever, proving with resourcefulness that even the toughest challenges could be met head-on and overcome with persistence and wisdom. Rachel felt a profound sense of peace as she stood firmly on solid ground, looking back across the Atlantic Ocean. Not only had she conquered its vast waters, but more importantly, had also overcome herself. Her voyage had served as proof that each individual possesses within themselves the strength necessary to face unknown situations with bravery and emerge stronger than before. In the large expanse of the Pacific Ocean, A remote and unspoiled haven lay hidden, far removed from any trace of human touch. It was a realm of both refuge and confinement. In the year 1998, the Sable Mirage Isle was set to unfold a gripping saga of endurance and foreboding, with Michael Harris, a 34-year-old individual at its heart, whose existence was on the brink of an extraordinary transformation. Michael Harris could hardly grasp the sequence of events that had led to his current predicament, lying breathless on the virgin sands of a forsaken tropical isle. Merely days before, he was a passenger on the SS Marigold, a merchant vessel traversing the Pacific. Out of the blue, a storm of mythical proportions struck, reducing the formidable ship to wreckage. Michael recalled the turmoil, the cries of despair, the struggle against the inevitable, followed by the chilling embrace of the deep sea. He regained consciousness under the fierce glare of the sun, with the monotonous crash of waves as his welcome. The island was a stark contrast to the barren sea. It offered potential shelter, sustenance, and perhaps a slim chance of being rescued. Unbeknownst to Michael, the island also concealed a menace as persistent and lethal as the storm that had cast him ashore. The initial days blurred into a fight for survival. With no skills in wilderness survival, Michael, a professional accountant, depended on fragmented recollections from films and literature to locate drinking water and food and construct a basic shelter. The seemingly abandoned island teemed with life. Birds chorused from the treetops, fish glided in the translucent waters, and trees bore fruit in abundance. Yet this idyll was not without its dark aspects. On the third day, during an exploration of the island's edge, Michael encountered a chilling sight: the sleek, unmistakable fins of tiger sharks cutting through the shallows. This realization chilled him to the bone. The island was not just isolated. It was a fortress encircled by some of the most formidable predators nature had concocted. As weeks replaced days, Michael's initial hope for swift rescue faded. Aircraft soared at great altitudes, too distant to notice a solitary figure on an unmarked island. The shark-ridden waters rendered any escape attempts by raft recklessly optimistic. Nevertheless, survival necessitated adaptability. Michael mastered shallow water fishing, sidestepping the deeper regions where the sharks prowled. He collected rainwater, erected a sturdier shelter, and after countless failed attempts, kindled a fire using the bow drill technique. His existence settled into a rhythm marked by moments of awe and dread. Some sunsets set the sky ablaze, nights alive with the jungle's symphony and the constant menace of sharks, which seemed to scorn his captivity from beyond the breakers. A pivotal discovery altered everything. While foraging in the dense jungle for sustenance, Michael stumbled upon the relics of an ancient campsite. Among the deteriorated equipment and weather-worn bones, a journal encased in a plastic bag emerged. It belonged to Jonathan Edwards, a biologist who had ventured to the island 2 decades earlier to study the tiger sharks. The journal detailed observations of the sharks' habits and dietary patterns, and crucially, hypothesized a safe route through the reefs, potentially leading to open waters. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Michael set to work. He understood the odds stacked against him, but the journal offered a flicker of hope, a chance at freedom. He commenced constructing a raft far more durable than he had ever envisioned possible. He amassed supplies, mapped the reef's passage by monitoring the sharks, and awaited an opportune moment. That moment arrived with a dawn so serene it seemed prophetic. At first light, Michael nudged his raft into the surf, his heart thumping wildly. The sharks, ever present, showed an unusual disinterest. Guided by Jonathan's notes, he steered through the perilous reef passage. The sharks circled but maintained their distance as if acknowledging his audacity. As he reached the open sea, the island dwindled to a dot behind him, and Michael allowed himself to hope. He had outlasted the island, its sharks, and the ocean's vastness. The path ahead was fraught with uncertainty. The rescue needed to be assured, but he had achieved the unattainable. Weeks later, Michael Harris was rescued by a passing merchant ship, his raft bearing witness to his indomitable spirit. He returned transformed, bearing the saga of his trial and the insights gained. Following his remarkable rescue, Michael Harris embarked on a significant path of healing and self-discovery. Adjusting to life back in society posed its set of hurdles. At the same time, physical reminders of his ordeal were evident. It was the mental and emotional aftermath that required immense fortitude to overcome. Michael turned to therapy, a sanctuary where he delved into the depths of his trauma, the solitude, and the continuous struggle for existence that had defined his time stranded. Writing became an unexpected source of solace for him, allowing him to pour his experiences into a memoir. This endeavor not only provided a means of personal healing, but also sought to motivate others facing their adversities. By participating in support groups for survivors, Michael found a sense of belonging and purpose, offering guidance to others on their paths to recovery. His trial had stripped him to his core, revealing to him the essence of persistence, the splendor found in the resilience of the human spirit, and the incredible power of embracing one's vulnerabilities. In rebuilding his existence, Michael Harris didn't merely survive the harsh realities of the island. He rose as a symbol of hope for others, exemplifying the relentless human capacity to triumph over seemingly impossible odds. His ordeal became a symbol of hope, exemplifying the profound resilience inherent in the human spirit when confronted with the inconceivable. The island, in its splendor and peril, remained untouched, a silent testament to the relentless human will against nature's might. In 2001, there was a remarkable and courageous woman named Sarah Johnson. Sarah was a marine biologist. She studied ocean creatures and their environments, which is an essential task in understanding how best to care for aquatic life. Sarah enjoyed taking adventurous dives under the sea in search of its secrets. One day, Sarah decided to visit Bimini in the Bahamas. Bimini is well known for its stunning coral reefs, like underwater gardens full of colorful fish, plants, and sharks. Sarah wanted to learn about shark behavior and how they lived, ate, and spent their days, so she could help both humans and sharks coexist more peacefully together. Early one morning, Sarah put on her diving gear, including a safety suit, fins to enable her to swim like a fish, and an air tank for breathing underwater, and carried a small underwater camera to document everything she saw during her dive. With an audible splash, she leaped off of her boat into the clear blue water below. As Sarah explored deeper into the water, sunlight began to fade, and the water turned a mysterious blue. Sarah was met with incredible sights: colorful fish darting between coral formations, starfish resting upon sandy bottoms, sea turtles resting idly beneath her. But most interesting of all were bull sharks, who are known for being fiercely protective over their home waters. While exploring the reef, Sarah inadvertently ventured into a territory claimed by a large bull shark, sensitive to intrusions into its domain. The shark mistook the glint of Sarah's camera lens for a threat, escalating its defensive instincts. Misinterpreting a piece of coral Sarah admired as part of its territory, the shark perceived her actions as aggressive, leading it to assess her as a potential threat and react defensively wrongly. Unexpectedly, Sarah found herself under attack from a bull shark that charged at her without warning. Sarah saw it coming at the last second. She quickly moved away, knowing the shark could return at any moment. Knowing this might happen again meant finding her way back up the surface without getting lost, or encountering more danger from its presence as possible. Sarah looked over her map of the coral reef. She knew there were tunnels and pathways through it that might lead her to safety, but it was like an underwater maze with numerous twists and turns. Sarah needed to use all her intelligence to find her way out without encountering another shark. As Sarah maneuvered her way through the underwater maze, she used all her knowledge of the ocean to make smart choices and avoid danger. She remembered which plants marked certain areas and how water flowed differently around various reefs. Every turn was an attempt to get closer to the surface and away from danger. Sarah could feel her heart racing as the bull shark continued its observation. Sarah knew it would take courage and intelligence to emerge safely, marking this as the start of an incredible journey that would only enrich her experience and share her tale with the world. Sarah persevered through an underwater maze with determination. She knew she could find safety above, yet her path wasn't clear amidst coral walls that seemed to twist and turn in every direction, creating a labyrinthine path of beauty and danger. Yet Sarah couldn't help marveling at its breathtaking beauty despite its danger. Sunlight now only offered glimpses through the waters, lighting up vibrant coral colors as well as the myriad fish that called this reef home. As Sarah made her way through the maze, Sarah thought about the bull shark she encountered. Sarah realized that sharks are often misrepresented. They weren't the mindless monsters that stories portray them to be. Rather, they are an important component of the ocean ecosystem. Sarah hoped that by better understanding sharks, people could come to respect and protect them. After what seemed like hours but was actually only minutes, Sarah finally saw a light that stood out amongst the others and headed towards it in hopes it was the way out. To her relief, coral walls opened up to reveal an open sea. She had finally made it through. As Sarah was swimming to the surface, she saw a bull shark swim past in the distance, watching her. But this time, Sarah did not feel alarmed. Instead, she understood she was a guest in its home and that this encounter served as a reminder of human-wildlife relationships. Slowly but carefully ascending towards the surface, she fixed her eyes upon the shark for as long as possible until it turned away into deeper depths again. As Sarah returned to the surface, she took in a deep breath of air and took in the breathtaking Bimini seascape. Her exhilaration and gratitude mixed as she realized she had navigated an underwater maze without incident, yet gained an in-depth knowledge of both its inhabitants and of herself in return. Sarah carefully recorded the details of her encounter with the bull shark aboard her boat. This experience not only provided an exhilarating adventure but was also valuable research data. Sarah hopes that by sharing her tale, she may help others see sharks with fresh eyes while encouraging the protection and preservation of these magnificent creatures and their environments. As Sarah headed back towards land, she took one last look back at sea. The ocean had taught her invaluable lessons about coexistence and respect, lessons that would carry over into new adventures in its vastness, and she knew she would return soon enough, ready for more discoveries in its depths. Lucas Bennett embarked on a night diving adventure in the warm tropical waters off the coast of Hawaii, USA. It was the summer of 2023, and Lucas, a university student majoring in marine biology, was on a research trip. His objective was to study the nocturnal behavior of marine life around the coral reefs, a task that filled him with both excitement and a hint of apprehension. Lucas had always been fascinated by the ocean, its vast mysteries and colorful inhabitants captivating his imagination since he was a child. This dive was not just another academic endeavor but a personal challenge, a step closer to understanding the depths that had always been called to him. Equipped with his diving gear and a waterproof flashlight, Lucas slipped into the calm, moonlit sea from the small boat he had rented. His friend and fellow researcher, Zoe Carter, stayed on board, monitoring his progress and ready to assist if needed. The plan was simple. Lucas would explore the reef close to their anchored position, documenting his findings with a waterproof camera. As Lucas descended into the underwater world, the vibrant colors of the coral reef came alive under the beam of his flashlight. Fish of various shapes and sizes darted in and out of the coral, their scales reflecting the light in mesmerizing patterns. Lucas felt a surge of awe and respect for the delicate ecosystem surrounding him. He moved carefully, mindful of his every breath and the gentle sway of the water. His heart raced with excitement as he spotted a rare species of octopus, its tentacles gracefully moving along the seafloor. Capturing this moment with his camera, Lucas knew this dive would provide invaluable data for his research. However, the tranquility of the dive took a sudden, terrifying turn. A swift and silent shadow emerged from the depths, catching Lucas off guard. It was a shark, its sleek form cutting through the water with incredible speed. Lucas's initial fascination quickly turned to fear as the shark circled closer, its eyes reflecting a primal hunger. Watching from the boat, Zoe grew concerned as Lucas's light flickered erratically. She called out to him through their communication device, her voice laced with urgency. Lucas responded, his voice trembling, informing her of the shark's presence. The situation escalated rapidly. Lucas attempted to remain calm, recalling his training on how to deal with shark encounters. He knew sudden movements could provoke an attack, so he tried to keep still, his flashlight aimed at the shark, hoping to deter it with the light. Back on the boat, Zoe realized the gravity of the situation. She knew she had to act fast. She quickly radioed for help, providing their coordinates and explaining the emergency. Meanwhile, she prepared the rescue equipment, her mind racing with worry for her friend below. As Lucas floated in the water, the shark's movements became more aggressive, its sleek body brushing against him in a terrifying dance of predator and prey. Lucas's heart pounded in his chest, his breaths quick and shallow. He knew he was in a fight for his life, the dark waters around him suddenly feeling like a vast, inescapable prison. As the tension beneath the Hawaiian night sky escalated, Lucas Bennett found himself in a dire struggle for survival. Undeterred by his attempts to keep calm and still, the shark launched a sudden, aggressive attack. In a flash of movement, Lucas felt a sharp pain in his leg, a stark reminder of his real danger in the depths. The injury, though not life-threatening, was severe enough to hamper his ability to swim and increase the urgency of the situation manifold. Above the surface, Zoe Carter was in a state of near panic. The distress call she had sent out was a beacon of hope, but her friend's chances seemed to dim with each passing second. She paced the small boat's deck, straining her eyes in the darkness for any sign of Lucas or the rescue team. The only sounds were the gentle lap of the waves against the hull and her ragged breaths. Back underwater, Lucas knew he had to make a decision. With his leg injured and the shark still nearby, waiting passively was no longer an option. Using his remaining strength and trying to ignore the throbbing pain, he began a slow, deliberate ascent to the surface. Each movement was calculated to avoid attracting further attention from the shark, but the ascent felt agonizingly slow. Meanwhile, the rescue team, alerted by Zoe's call, was on its way. The local Coast Guard, experienced in handling such emergencies, navigated their vessel through the night waters with practiced ease. Their boat was equipped with powerful searchlights, cutting through the darkness in search of Lucas and Zoe. Zoe's relief was palpable when the searchlight beam finally swept over their boat. She waved frantically, guiding the rescue team to their location. The team worked quickly, deploying divers into the water to assist Lucas and keep the shark at bay. Lucas, now just below the surface, could see the lights from the rescue boat and felt a surge of hope. The divers reached him swiftly, assessed his condition, and provided immediate first aid for his injury. With their support, Lucas was carefully lifted onto a stretcher and brought aboard the rescue boat. The return to shore was a blur of activity. Lucas, lying on the deck, his leg bandaged, felt relief and disbelief. Zoe stayed by his side, her presence comforting in the chaos. The Coast Guard provided them with blankets and warm drinks, trying to ease the shock of their ordeal. Once on land, Lucas was taken to a local hospital for treatment. His injury, while painful, was not as severe as initially feared. He would recover, but the experience had left an indelible mark on him. The attack, the fear, and the rescue would remain vivid memories, a reminder of the unpredictable nature of the sea. As Lucas recuperated, he often found himself gazing out at the ocean, its vastness holding a new meaning. The experience had not dampened his love for marine biology, but it had taught him a profound respect for the power and unpredictability of the natural world. The Hawaiian night dive was a chapter in his life he would never forget, a story of survival under the stars. Jake Carter had always loved the sea and all it contained. Being a marine photographer meant that Jake took pictures of fish, corals, and various sea life as part of his profession. One sunny day, Jake decided to make a special trip to the Bahamas so he could capture its breathtaking underwater world and document its beauty for his job. Jake was extremely thrilled. With camera in hand and anticipation building, Jake couldn't wait to dive into the clear blue water of the Bahamas. This destination was well known for its breathtaking reefs and amazing fauna living there. And Jake hoped he might witness colorful fish, playful dolphins, or perhaps even an unexpected sea turtle. Jake donned his diving gear, consisting of a mask, a tank of air so he could breathe underwater, and flippers to assist with swimming. Once in the water, Jake discovered an underwater world more stunning than any he had imagined. Bright corals of various shapes and sizes were scattered all across his field of vision. Schools of fish of multiple colors darted about in schools around him. It felt as if Jake were transported into another realm, one with peace and silence all around him. Jake began taking photos, capturing the beauty of the sea with his camera. Everything was going as planned until Jake noticed an odd shadow moving in the distance. At first, he thought it might be something big like a fish or dolphin. As it got closer, he realized it was actually a shark, an enormous hammerhead. Jake knew a lot about sea animals, including hammerhead sharks. Most hammerhead sharks were not dangerous to people, yet this particular one seemed different as it kept watching Jake and moving closer. Jake tried his best to remain calm. Panicking would only serve to increase its threats. Instead, he remembered what he had learned about sharks from experience. Keep eye contact, stay still, and do not act like prey. But the shark would not retreat. Instead, it circled closer and closer until Jake found himself thinking quickly about ways to return safely to his boat. With an array of caves and tunnels within the reef surrounding him, Jake began to consider the possibility of using its sheltering properties as cover while making his journey back without alerting any sharks. Jake decided to move slowly, using coral as cover. He made his way through tunnels and around large blocks of coral while keeping an eye on the shark, who seemed aware of his plan, keeping up with him as they followed. Jake found a part of the reef that was highly intricate, offering plenty of concealing places. He thought this was his chance. If he could navigate his way through it successfully, he could lose the shark and find his way back to his boat. He took a deep breath and thrust forward, weaving through the coral. A shark quickly closed in behind him, but Jake was determined. This was no game. Clear blue water had become a maze filled with hidden dangers and games of hide and seek. As Jake progressed through the reef, he realized it would be more challenging than anticipated. The shark was determined and treacherous, yet Jake refused to give up. Using all his knowledge and abilities, he must outwit its hunter in order to survive. Jake tried everything he knew to stay one step ahead of the hammerhead shark and stay that way. He wondered whether or not he'd make it back to his boat. One thing was clear, however, he wouldn't give up trying. As Jake Carter navigated his way through the underwater maze of the Bahamian Reef, his lungs burned with effort as he dodged around every turn and attempted to remain still. A hammerhead shark with its distinctive head proved a formidable foe, its uncanny intelligence being enough for it to mirror every move with terrifying precision. Jake remembered reading that hammerhead sharks use their wide heads to detect electrical signals emitted by prey, and this knowledge made him acutely aware that he wasn't just an observer in this vast blue expanse. Rather, he was the target. Yet even in spite of his fearful feelings, he realized it would take smarts, not speed, to survive this situation. Jake knew this could be his best chance at outwitting the shark. Its complexity provided an advantage over him as an agile swimmer. Jake moved cautiously, carefully conserving the air that remained. In tight spaces, he used his camera as a distraction tool by tapping it against rocks to send vibrations through the water, and hopefully disorient any shark that came near. Jake could feel their presence just beyond his field of vision, but could never actually see one directly. Once again, an unthinkable event took place. As Jake squeezed through a narrow gap between two corals, he found himself in a small clearing surrounded by a protective reef. Meanwhile, due to either sheer luck or relentless pursuit, the shark made its way onto the other side of the clearing, and they stood face to face, only yards apart from being predator and prey. Jake felt his heart beating faster as he stared into the eyes of a shark, knowing this could be his only opportunity. Recalling how divers use a technique called making oneself big, making direct eye contact, and, if necessary, pushing away sensitive areas on a shark's nose or gills to keep curious sharks at bay, Jake quickly prepared himself, standing ready with hands stretched out towards his attacker. At that moment, however, an unexpected relief arrived in the form of a group of dolphins that burst into the clearing. Playfully yet protective of their realm, this playful yet protective marine life circled Jake before turning their attention back onto the hammerhead shark, who hesitated before taking flight at once with its prey distracted. Jake took advantage of this momentary distraction and raced toward the surface as quickly as his arms would allow. Jake gasped for air as soon as he reached the surface. Never was he more grateful to see daylight. Almost instinctively, he quickly located his boat and used what strength was left of his to climb aboard it with ease, half expecting the hammerhead shark to lash out again from where it had come. Instead, it had vanished into its waters of origin. Once Jake had returned home, word quickly spread among locals and then the world about his journey. His images of Bahamian reef life gained new depth through his account of survival. At the same time, Jake had intended to capture its beauty through photography. Instead, they became the source of much horror for others to endure. Jake came away from this encounter with an immense respect for the sea and its inhabitants, especially sharks. Though Jake would return to its waters once more, its call proved irresistible. Still, he would always remember the day when he gazed into a shark's eye without being eaten, as a reminder of its great power and of how fragile this marine world could be. In the heart of the Pacific, surrounded by the vast blue ocean, lies the Solomon Islands, a paradise for adventurers and nature lovers alike. Among these adventurers was Emily Carter, a daring night diver who sought the thrill of exploring the underwater world after dark. Emily was fascinated by the ocean's mysteries, especially the bioluminescent creatures that lit up the waters with their magical glow. One calm evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and purple, Emily prepared for a dive unlike any other. She had heard tales of a place off the coast where the water came alive at night, sparkling with the light of countless bioluminescent organisms. With her dive gear and a powerful underwater light, she set out to experience this natural wonder. Emily slipped into the water, her heart beating with excitement. As she descended into the depths, the world around her transformed. The ocean's darkness was pierced by her dive light, revealing a hidden realm where tiny creatures shimmered like stars in the night sky. It was a breathtaking sight, and Emily was mesmerized by the beauty of the bioluminescent display. As she swam farther, Emily's light danced across the water, attracting the attention of the ocean's nocturnal inhabitants. Fish darted in and out of the beam, their scales reflecting the light in flashes of silver. Emily felt a deep connection to this mysterious world, a place of beauty and danger intertwined. However, unbeknownst to Emily, her dive light was also attracting the attention of more formidable creatures. The area was a hunting ground for a pack of nocturnal sharks, predators that roamed the waters for their next meal. As Emily marveled at the bioluminescent spectacle, the sharks began to close in, drawn by the light that pierced the darkness. The peacefulness of the dive was soon shattered by the realization that she was not alone. Emily's heart raced as she detected movement in the periphery of her light. At first, she thought it was just another curious fish, but the size and shape of the shadows hinted at something far more dangerous. Emily knew she was in a precarious situation. The beauty of the bioluminescent creatures had led her into the hunting ground of nocturnal sharks, turning her dive into a battle of wits and survival skills. She had to rely on her knowledge of the ocean and its predators to navigate the pitch-black waters safely. As she cautiously moved, trying to avoid attracting more attention, Emily couldn't help but admire the efficiency and grace of the sharks as they moved through the water. She understood that she was an intruder in their domain, a guest in the vast and mysterious underwater world that came alive in the darkness of the night. The encounter was a stark reminder of the ocean's dual nature, a place of unparalleled beauty and inherent danger. Emily's respect for the predators of the deep grew as she realized the delicate balance in the ocean's nocturnal ecosystem. Her adventure had taken an unexpected turn, but it was a vivid lesson in respecting the sea and its inhabitants, no matter how mesmerizing or thrilling the dive might be. In the shadowy waters of the Solomon Islands, Emily Carter found herself in a delicate dance of light and shadow, surrounded by the silent forms of nocturnal sharks. Her heart pounded not just with fear but also with respect for these majestic creatures of the deep. The beauty of the bioluminescent world she had sought to explore was now intertwined with the thrill of survival. Aware that her dive light was both a beacon and a danger, Emily gradually dimmed it, hoping to become less visible to the circling predators. As the light faded, the glowing life around her became even more pronounced, painting a surreal scene in the underwater night. Emily moved slowly, minimizing her movements to avoid attracting further attention from the sharks. The darkness was now almost complete, save for the natural glow of the bioluminescent organisms. Emily's eyes adjusted, and she began appreciating the subtle interplay of light and life in this unique ecosystem. The curious yet cautious sharks seemed to accept her presence, allowing her to observe them from a safe distance. It was a moment of profound connection, a reminder that humans were not rulers of the natural world but participants in its intricate dance. Realizing the importance of coexistence and respect, Emily reflected on the lessons this dive had taught her. The ocean was a place of endless wonders, but it demanded respect. The thrill of adventure could not come at the expense of the safety of its creatures or the balance of their habitats. As Emily slowly ascended to the surface, she felt deeply grateful for the experience. The encounter with the sharks in the bioluminescent waters had been a powerful reminder of the beauty and danger that coexisted in the ocean. It also reinforced her commitment to responsible diving practices that honored the sanctity of marine life. Back on the boat, Emily shared her experience with her fellow divers, emphasizing the importance of respecting the ocean's predators and the delicate ecosystems they inhabited. Her story was a testament to the transformative power of nature and the need for humanity to approach it with humility and care. The night dive among the bioluminescent creatures and nocturnal sharks would remain with Emily as a vivid reminder of the ocean's mysteries. It was an adventure that had brought her face to face with the raw beauty and inherent dangers of the underwater world, deepening her respect for the ocean and its inhabitants. Looking back at the dark waters, now calm and serene in the moonlight, Emily knew that this experience would shape her future interactions with the marine world, always with awe, respect, and a profound sense of responsibility. In 2003, an adventurous man named Tom Harris lived. An experienced diver, Tom adored exploring the depths of the ocean more than anything else and dived in numerous locations worldwide, always in search of exciting adventures. One day, Tom heard about an amazing underwater cave system off of Cocos Island in Costa Rica. Known for its abundant marine life and hidden treasures hidden below its waters, Tom could hardly wait to explore this great adventure spot. Tom prepared his diving gear meticulously. He prepared himself against the cold water with a special suit, mask, and fins to see clearly underwater, as well as an air tank for deep diving beneath the sea. Additionally, he brought along a waterproof flashlight in case the caves contained hidden secrets just waiting to be unlocked. Tom set sail early one morning on his boat toward underwater caves. The sea was calm and the skies were clear, creating the ideal conditions for diving. When he reached his destination, he anchored his boat, donned his diving gear, and dove headfirst into the inviting blue sea. As Tom descended into the depths, sunlight faded, and the water grew darker. Turning on his flashlight revealed the entrance to a cave system he hadn't known about until now, something which gave Tom an exciting rush. This world had yet to be experienced by most. Tom found himself swimming carefully through the caves like an expert, his flashlight lighting his path carefully. Tom could see beautiful formations covering its walls as he passed along his route, with colorful fish darting in and out of shadowy corners. It truly was an underwater wonderland. Tom gradually expanded his explorations of the cave system until he began to feel uneasy. He remembered hearing stories about an enormous tiger shark said to reside here, which had proven itself very protective over its territory. Tom tried to shake the feeling, telling himself he was prepared for any challenge that awaited him. As he explored, marveling at the underwater world's beauty, he turned a corner in a cave. He encountered something alarming which made his heart stop beating. Tom saw it in the light from his flashlight, the enormous, powerful, muscled shark with sharp teeth glinting in the light. Tom knew he was in danger. The shark had seen him and was closely monitoring him. Tom realized he needed to proceed cautiously as he attempted to find his way out of the caves without alarming the shark. Although he remembered where he came in from, these caves could easily lead one astray. As Tom was making his way to return home, he kept an eye on the shark. It appeared to be following him silently through the water. Tom knew he was in a deadly game of cat and mouse with the top predator. He needed to leave this cave system before it was too late. Tom knew that panic was his greatest foe. Taking a deep breath through his diving regulator, he attempted to slow his heart's racing rhythm by thinking clearly under pressure. Tom navigated cautiously through the caverns, his eyes constantly scanning the murky waters around him. With his flashlight's beam cutting through the darkness and illuminating its stunning natural beauty, the cave system revealed its true magnificence. Stunning natural formations such as stalagmites glittered like jewels, while fish darted through Tom's beam of light like darts from an orchestra conductor's baton. Yet its charms were overshadowed by the danger posed by an angry tiger shark lurking within. Tom remembered reading about the tiger sharks of Cocos Island. Known as wastebaskets of the sea, these formidable predators had earned themselves the moniker wastebaskets. Tom had always wanted to witness one up close. Just different from this, not as prey. Tom knew he needed a strategy. The caverns were an impenetrable labyrinth, but Tom had marked his route using biodegradable markers. If he could retrace his steps, he might find his way back toward the entrance. His challenge lay in doing this without meeting another tiger shark along the way. As Tom began his retreat, he noticed a faint current. Remembering how sea caves often feature multiple entrances and exits created by ocean waves, Tom thought there might be another route out, following it as discreetly as possible in order to stay out of harm's way. Tom became startled as the water around him began to move. Realizing a tiger shark had come close, his heart dropped. Still, something strange happened. This time around, its eyes revealed intelligence rather than threat, and Tom managed to stay as still as possible in order to avoid sudden movements that might trigger an attack from this powerful predator. Tom was stunned to see the shark turn and swim slowly away, taking Tom through the caverns. Without other options available to him, he decided to follow at a safe distance. After what seemed like an eternity, Tom finally saw a flash of light appear in the distance. Following its lead, the shark led Tom through another narrow passage, leading out into sunlit ocean waters and towards another exit. Tom finally emerged from the depths and saw a tiger shark again, pausing briefly as though acknowledging him before retreating into dark caverns. Back on his boat, Tom contemplated his remarkable experience. He had successfully faced one of the ocean's deadliest predators and managed to avoid death. Moreover, he felt an incredible bond to its mysterious depths, one which demanded respect yet provided endless fascination in return. Tom understood his story, which seemed incredible. Being saved by a tiger shark would seem great at first, yet what he learned was invaluable. Under the surface, the ocean held many surprises that exceeded any predictions he ever had of what could live there. Alex Johnson embarked on a journey of recovery and solidarity in the serene yet wild waters off the coast of Gansbaai, South Africa, known for its dense population of sharks. Having survived a harrowing shark attack himself, Alex knew the depth of fear and trauma such an experience could engrave in one's heart. Determined to transform his ordeal into a beacon of hope, he founded a support group for individuals who had faced similar encounters. This group became a sanctuary for survivors, where their stories and fears could be shared without judgment, and understanding and empathy flourished. Alex proposed a daring and therapeutic idea, a group sea voyage into the waters that had once been a source of their nightmares. He intended to help the group confront their fears, look them in the eye, and find peace. The idea was met with mixed emotions, a blend of apprehension and a quiet, emerging courage. After months of preparation, which included safety protocols and learning about shark behavior, the group was ready to set sail. The day of the voyage dawned clear and bright, with the sun casting a golden glow over the waters of Gansbaai. As the boat left the harbor, there was palpable tension among the group. Each member was lost in their thoughts and memories. Alex stood among them, offering encouragement, reminding them of the strength they had shown by simply being there. As they ventured farther into the sea, the group's focus shifted to the world beneath the waves, guided by marine biologists who explained the importance of sharks in the ocean's ecosystem. This educational aspect was crucial to Alex's plan. Understanding was the first step toward overcoming fear. The moment of truth arrived when the boat slowed, hovering over a known shark hotspot. The water around them teemed with life, and then, gracefully and silently, a school of sharks appeared, gliding through the blue depths. The sight was both terrifying and mesmerizing. The group members, once victims of their trauma, now watched in awe, their fears mingling with a newfound respect for these misunderstood creatures. In this shared moment of vulnerability and wonder, the survivors found themselves on the cusp of something profound. The sea, once a source of their deepest fears, was now a stage for healing and understanding. As they observed the sharks not as monsters but as an essential part of the natural world, the seeds of transformation were sown. The journey was about facing their fears and understanding and respecting the force that had changed their lives. This voyage was the first step in a healing journey, guided by the power of community and the therapeutic nature of facing one's fears head-on. Something remarkable happened as the group watched the sharks move elegantly. The sea of fear that had once engulfed them began to recede, replaced by a sense of awe and a deeper understanding. Observing the change in his companion's expressions, Alex knew that this moment culminated their journey together. The sharks, once symbols of terror, now represented a bridge to recovery and acceptance. The marine biologists on board shared insights into the shark's behavior, emphasizing their role in the marine ecosystem. This knowledge helped the group see the creatures in a new light, not as villains of the sea but as vital participants in the ocean's delicate balance. The realization that their fear had been rooted in misunderstanding helped dissolve the barriers that had held them back from healing. The atmosphere was markedly different as the boat began its journey back to shore. There was laughter, shared stories, and reflections on the experience. The encounter had sparked a shift, allowing the group to reclaim power over their trauma. Alex watched his companions, proud of their courage and the strides they had made. Back on land, the group gathered one last time to discuss the day's events. They spoke of their fears, initial reluctance, and how the experience transformed their perceptions. The support group, which had started as a collective of individuals bound by their traumatic encounters, had evolved into a community of empowered survivors united in their journey toward healing. The sea voyage off the coast of Gansbai brought them face to face with their fears and showed them the beauty and complexity of the natural world. By confronting their past, they had opened the door to a future where fear no longer held dominion over their lives. This experience, rooted in understanding and respect, highlighted the transformative power of facing one's fears, supported by the strength of community. Emily Harris was an adventurous marine biologist who found great peace in exploring the Mariana Trench, one of the deepest parts of the ocean, on an important mission, learning more about its creatures living deep below. For this endeavor, she used a submersible vehicle designed specifically to reach such depths. One day, as Emily explored the dark depths, something extraordinary occurred. As she collected samples near the ocean floor and marveled at all of its inhabitants, her dreams came true as she witnessed life unfold before her in this most hidden corner of Earth. Emily was stunned to find herself suddenly surrounded by a large group of deep-sea sharks. They were known for living in extreme darkness and pressure of the deep ocean. Emily had never seen so many all at once. Their eyes began glowing brightly under dim lighting from the submersible vehicle. Emily tried her best to remain calm. While she knew a great deal about sharks and that they tended to be more curious than aggressive, Emily realized her submersible wasn't designed to withstand sustained attacks from such powerful animals. Emily recognized she was in imminent danger and began avoiding shark attacks as quickly as she could. Emily noticed her oxygen levels dropping rapidly. Unfortunately, the submersible only provided sufficient supply to cover its mission, not for situations such as this one. With sharks blocking her way back up to the surface quickly, Emily needed to think fast as immediate return seemed unlikely. Emily examined her maps and instruments carefully. She needed a plan to evade a swarm of sharks and reach the surface before her oxygen ran out. Emily's heart raced as she searched the nearby deep-sea canyon for an exit route through which to outwit them. As Emily navigated her submersible in search of an escape route, she remembered why she became a marine biologist. Her love for the ocean and its mysteries had always inspired her, giving her courage in dangerous situations like this one. Determined to overcome it all and share her discoveries about its depths with everyone around her, Emily knew she must stay strong to save both herself and those awaiting rescue from danger. Emily made a decision, hoping her knowledge and quick thinking would be enough to take her back up to the surface and escape shark attacks. With only breath left for her, Emily prepared to make a move, hoping her knowledge would bring her safety. As Emily Harris's oxygen supply was quickly running low and sharks continued to surround her submersible, she realized it was time to act swiftly. She remembered a narrow passage on a map of the trench near where she currently was. While this could pose risks, its narrow width meant only enough room for one submersible at a time would fit through it, but it could provide the only hope of escape from sharks. Emily piloted her submersible towards the passage, her heart thumping with anticipation. Sharks followed, their dark shapes looming large in the dim light. When approaching, Emily carefully navigated its tight confines. However, there were walls close enough for contact to prevent passage. Still, she managed to maneuver her submersible through without incident. Once she reached the other side, Emily noticed the sharks no longer followed her. Perhaps the narrow passage had dissuaded them, or maybe they'd lost interest altogether. Either way, Emily was safe for now, although not entirely unsusceptible to danger. Her oxygen levels had become dangerously low. Emily pushed her submersible to its limit, moving as quickly toward the surface as she could. She monitored her oxygen consumption closely. Just before her oxygen ran out, Emily saw a faint glow of sunlight above her. It meant she had made it. With one last surge of power, Emily's submersible broke through the water's surface, and Emily breathed deeply. Relief filled her lungs. Back on her research ship, Emily contemplated her ordeal and its aftermath. She had faced her deepest fears and overcame them all. Meeting sharks in Mariana Trench served as a stark reminder of its vast power while reinforcing Emily's resolve to explore and protect its depths. Though terrifying at times, Emily's adventure represented courage and perseverance that would live with her forever. In the tranquil yet vivid vastness of the Caribbean Sea, enveloped in the night's embrace, began the extraordinary expedition of Sofia Moreno. The calendar marked the year 2002, placing the scene near the wondrous depths of the Cayman Trench, celebrated for its awe-inspiring underwater vistas and the secrets buried beneath. Sofia, a dauntless and seasoned explorer beneath the waves, had been drawn since youth by the lore of sunken vessels scattered across this seabed. Her quest was to unveil the Esperanza, a ship lost to the waves in the twilight of the 19th century under enigmatic conditions. Legends whispered of Esperanza's cargo, believed to be laden with invaluable relics and treasures. Yet its precise resting place remained a puzzle unsolved by fortune seekers and scholars for generations. This voyage to the Caribbean was fueled not solely by Sofia's thirst for the uncharted and the depths, but also by a desire to weave through the tapestry of her lineage. Rumors had long circulated in her family that her ancestor was Esperanza's captain, and she was nurtured on narratives of his voyages and the doomed expedition that sealed the ship's fate. Equipped with the latest historical insights and advanced navigational tools, Sofia was convinced she was on the verge of piercing the veil shrouding the shipwreck's mysteries. As daylight waned, surrendering the sky to shades of orange and violet, Sofia readied herself for the descent. The dive spot was eerily serene, disturbed only by the rhythmic kiss of waves against her vessel. A final review of her gear, oxygen canisters, a beacon of light for the path ahead, a camera to immortalize the deep's wonders, and a blade for safety. Well aware of the night dive's inherent risks, she also armed herself with a sonar tech, hoping it would unveil the ocean floor's contours and alert her to the presence of any lurking leviathans. Plunging into the abyss, Sofia's light pierced the darkness, revealing a kaleidoscope of corals and bustling marine life unique to the Caribbean's embrace. The further she ventured, the chill of the deep's caress replaced the surface's warmth. With each paddle, excitement and a dash of apprehension surged within her, drawing her nearer to her ambition, and possibly the perils hidden in the depths. Her sonar device's abrupt alert hinted at a significant discovery nearby. Heart racing, she pondered if the Esperanza was finally within reach. However, the shadows soon unveiled a formidable bull shark, its gaze reflecting an eerie luminescence. Known for their aggressiveness, this guardian of the deep seemed to encircle the wreck with proprietary zeal, suggesting it had claimed this patch of the abyss as its own. The encounter with the shark presented Sofia with a critical juncture. With her oxygen dwindling and the path to the Esperanza obstructed by one of the ocean's fiercest predators, the darkness seemed to grow denser, amplifying her isolation. Yet retreating was a choice Sofia refused to entertain. The drive to explore Esperanza and honor her forebears' memory steeled her resolve. In the dim ocean depths, Sofia's continued existence hinged on her ability to blend into the environment and her deep insight into the behaviors of sea creatures. Faced with a circling bull shark, she remembered that sharks were often less likely to notice prey that remained calm and quiet. Sofia made sure to limit her movements, controlling her breathing to reduce bubble production, a key indicator of her location. She skillfully used the sunken ship as a natural shield, moving through its remains to disrupt her outline against the vast openness of the sea. By positioning herself in a way that any scent she might emit was carried away from the shark by the current, she became harder to detect. This approach, along with her cautious and measured actions, decreased her chances of being seen as potential prey. After a few nerve-wracking moments watching the shark survey the edges of the wreck, the creature eventually seemed to lose interest in Sofia's area. possibly detecting no clear prey or being lured away by another distraction. The formidable sea predator quietly moved off into the gloom, leaving Sophia to continue her underwater journey, her pulse racing from the thrill of having cleverly avoided an encounter with one of the sea's most impressive predators. In her delicate dance through the deep, Sophia's reverence for the oceanic realm and its denizens guided her every maneuver. She treaded these waters not as a conqueror but as a humble visitor, captivated by its splendor even amidst danger. The bull shark, in its grandeur, was woven into the fabric of her tale, a living symbol of the fine line that adventurers walk between discovery and jeopardy. Upon finally beholding the Esperanza, its form shrouded in coral and teeming with life, Sophia's heart swelled with achievement. She meticulously documented the wreck, gathering evidence that would later validate the ship's identity and chronicle. Her mission was a success, but the encounter with the bull shark lingered prominently in her mind, a stark reminder of adventure's dual-edged nature. Rising to the surface as dawn's first light reclaimed the sky, Sophia was transformed by her expedition, enriched by the tangible and intangible treasures she had unearthed. This journey deepened her bond with the mysteries of the sea, and she knew the tale of her brush with the bull shark would be recounted for years, a narrative of respect, fear, and an indomitable spirit's quest into the unknown. Mia Green was drawn to the ocean, living for its powerful waves and stunning beaches. One sunny afternoon, she decided to visit Oahu's North Shore, which is known for its breathtaking beaches and powerful waves and offers endless adventures in her surfing life. On this particular sunny day, Mia set out for Hawaii's North Shore. She knew she'd find just the place where she could satisfy her oceanic cravings. Mia had found a secluded stretch of coastline where the waters sparkled under the bright sun and the waves were perfect. Her excitement soared as she paddled out, eager to catch that perfect wave that promised an exhilarating ride. Soon enough, Mia found it, an enormous, towering wave promising a thrilling ride. She quickly secured her surfboard and paddled hard. Mia stood up, effortlessly balancing herself as she caught a wave, riding its power with pure delight, feeling its winds through her hair and spray of the sea against her face as it rose above. For an instant, she felt part of the ocean itself, an experience she'd always craved and that had brought so much pleasure through surfing. But Mia's perfect day took an unnerving turn when, while gazing upon the crystal-clear water below her, she noticed shadowy shapes moving beneath her. At first, she thought these shadows may have been dolphins playing near surfers. However, as they neared Mia, she realized these weren't friendly creatures but rather oceanic white-tip sharks known for their relentless hunt for prey. Mia felt her panic rise as she found herself far from shore on a surfboard without anywhere to turn. A pack of sharks circled below, their fins cutting through the surface. Mia knew she needed to remain calm. Reading beforehand had told her that fear-sensing sharks could sense panicked reactions in humans, potentially prompting their attack. Mia took deep breaths as she reviewed what she knew about sharks. They were curious creatures who investigated with their mouths, often leading to accidental bites. Knowing sudden movements could set off predatory instincts in sharks, she tried her best not to move while on her surfboard in order to appear less like prey. Mia could see the sun starting to set over the water, casting its golden hue over its surface and casting long shadows across her path. She knew time was running out. Reduced visibility could encourage sharks and make rescue efforts more challenging. Mia had read that sharks are highly sensitive to contrast and movements in their environment, so she began slowly paddling her surfboard with minimal splashes in order to create a calm rhythm in the water that would discourage sharks from investigating further and could deter any potential preying sharks from making a move that provoked them into acting out an investigative bite. Minutes passed like hours, with no signs of progress on her journey toward shore. Mia's arms began aching from her slow, deliberate strokes, yet she persisted with them nonetheless, vigilantly scanning the waters around her for any indications from sharks. Oceanic whitetips still circled this strange floating platform. Mia noticed as the sun began to set lower and cast the sky with shades of purple and red that the sharks began dispersing one by one, losing interest in an object they couldn't detect as prey. Her heart surged with relief, but she knew she wasn't safe yet. Mia finally saw a boat as darkness settled upon the ocean and realized she had been noticed. A group of fishermen on an evening fishing expedition noticed Mia's unusual activities in the water. As they approached, she waved weakly her arms while relief rushed through her as they pulled her on board with a surfboard and all. Mia recounted her incredible tale to the crew on board and was met with immense surprise and respect by all. Mia learned firsthand just how rare it is for surfers to encounter oceanic whitetips in packs. How fortunate she had been that she maintained composure and survived this encounter. Mia's experience proved both humbling and profoundly life-altering when she returned to shore. It illustrated both her bravery and nature's unpredictable force, reminding her always to respect its inhabitants as well as its ever-evolving beauty. Mia's story resonated throughout the surfing community, inspiring both admiration and renewed caution among her fellow surfers. Mia knew she would eventually return to surfing, but with an acute awareness of how fragile the balance between humans and the ocean is, she beckons adventurers like herself. Mia's experience with oceanic white-tip sharks on Oahu's North Shore serves as an enduring testament to human resilience, nature's unpredictableness, and respect for both. Her tale serves as an inspiring example of individual strength when confronting seemingly overwhelming challenges. On a sunny morning on Réunion Island, France, a group of enthusiastic volunteers gathered on the picturesque beach of St. Paul. Among them was Sophie Laurent, a spirited environmental science student from the University of La Réunion. The event was a community-led beach cleanup organized to combat the increasing problem of marine debris affecting the island's stunning coastlines. Sophie, with her long, sun-streaked hair tied back and a determined look in her eyes, was passionate about marine conservation. She had always felt a deep connection to the ocean and was eager to make a tangible difference. Clad in shorts and a t-shirt with sturdy gloves to protect her hands, she listened intently as the coordinator outlined the day's activities. Armed with bags and trash pickers, the volunteers spread out along the shore, their spirits high as they set their tasks. Drafted to the water's edge, Sophie began collecting plastic bottles, discarded fishing nets, and other debris washed ashore. The gentle lap of the waves against her ankles and the occasional call of a seabird overhead made the work feel less like a chore and more like a labor of love. As the morning progressed, Sophie moved into the shallows to retrieve a tangle of plastic that seemed to be partially submerged. The clear waters of Réunion Island, usually so inviting, hid an unexpected danger that day. Without warning, a sharp pain erupted in Sophie's ankle, sending a jolt of fear through her. Startled, she stumbled backward, glancing down to see a small shark swimming away, its silhouette disappearing into the deeper water. Though not deep, the bite was bleeding profusely, marring the clear water around her with dark, spreading clouds. Sophie's heart raced as she called out for help, the shock of the attack setting in. The other volunteers, hearing her cries, rushed to her side, their expressions turning from concern to alarm at the sight of her injury. The beach cleanup ended abruptly as the volunteers rallied around Sophie. One of them, a trained first aider, quickly administered primary treatment, applying pressure to the wound to stem the bleeding. The coordinator, realizing the gravity of the situation, dialed the emergency services, urging them to hurry. As Sophie sat on the sand, surrounded by worried faces, the initial shock gave way to a throbbing pain in her ankle. The community's concern was palpable, their cleanup efforts forgotten in the face of the unfolding emergency. The pristine beach, moments ago a scene of collaborative effort and environmental stewardship, had become the backdrop for a stark reminder of the ocean's unpredictable nature. As the minutes ticked by, the serene beach of St. Paul on Réunion Island transformed into a hub of activity. The distant sound of sirens grew louder, signaling the approach of the emergency medical team. The volunteers formed a makeshift pathway to ease their access to Sophie, who sat quietly, trying to mask the pain with a brave smile. The medical team sprang into action upon arrival, their efficiency a comforting presence amidst the tense atmosphere. They assessed Sophie's injury with professional calm, cleaning the wound and ensuring no severe damage had been done. The bite, though frightening, was fortunately superficial, requiring only stitches and not surgery. The beach cleanup coordinator gathered the volunteers as Sophie was being tended to. The day's events had taken an unexpected turn, and it was clear that the cleanup would have to be postponed. The safety of the participants was paramount, and the shark encounter had raised concerns that needed to be addressed before they could continue their work. The incident sparked a flurry of discussions within the community. Local authorities and marine biologists from the University of La Réunion began investigating the shark's presence in such shallow waters, a rare occurrence that caught everyone off guard. The following community meetings focused on enhancing beach safety and balancing the need for environmental conservation with protecting those who volunteered their time. Sophie's story quickly spread, her bravery and commitment to the cause earning her admiration and respect. Interviews with local media highlighted volunteers' risks and the urgent need for action against marine pollution, indirectly contributing to such wildlife encounters. In the following weeks, Sophie's recovery symbolized the community's resilience. Her experience had not dampened her spirit but strengthened her resolve to advocate for the ocean's protection. She became more involved in educational programs, sharing her story to raise awareness about the importance of safe and responsible conservation efforts. The beach cleanup event was rescheduled with increased safety measures and a renewed sense of purpose. The volunteers returned, their numbers bolstered by Sophie's story, ready to continue their work with a deeper understanding of the ocean's complexities. The incident at St. Paul Beach, while alarming, had brought the community closer together, fostering a collective determination to protect their cherished coastal environment. Once a volunteer, Sophie had become a beacon of inspiration, her encounter with the shark a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between human activity and the natural world. As the story concludes, the beaches of Reunion Island remain a place of breathtaking beauty and vibrant life, a testament to the resilience of its people and its marine inhabitants. The community's commitment to conservation, strengthened by their challenges, ensures that the island's shores remain a haven for all who cherish the ocean and its wonders. Thailand's Andaman Sea was home to an adventurous man named Alex Thompson, who loved exploring its waters more than anything. Alex was an expert freediver, diving without using an air tank, holding his breath instead, into its depths. One sunny afternoon, he decided to discover an isolated coral reef known for its breathtaking beauty and mysterious underwater caves. Alex had been diving for years, yet the thrill of discovery never seemed to tire him. After gathering his gear and taking a deep breath, he plunged into the clear, warm waters of the Andaman Sea. As he dove deeper, the vivid coral colors and bustling marine life mesmerized him. Fish of various sizes darted around him freely as he felt at peace underwater. After searching for some time, Alex finally located the entrance to the cave system he had heard so much about. With excitement rising rapidly in his veins as he passed through its opening, his heart raced with anticipation as light from above faded as cool, shadowy surroundings filled up his vision. It felt like entering another world altogether, with strange rock formations and beams of light cutting through the darkness like coming home. Alex was very mindful about staying on course and remembering his journey back. Although free diving in caves could be potentially hazardous, he felt confident with his skills. Moving through the caves, he marveled at their beauty while completely immersed in the moment. Alex was shocked to encounter something unexpected. Just after turning the corner, he saw a massive nurse shark blocking his only exit route. Nurse sharks are typically calm, but this particular specimen seemed restless. Alex stopped in fear before realizing he needed to stay composed so as to think rationally and plan his response effectively. Alex watched for some movement from the shark, but nothing came. Looking down, Alex realized his oxygen supply was running low. Freedivers can only hold their breath for so long, and Alex knew it would soon run out if he did nothing quickly. Alex was familiar with sharks. They're typically curious, yet not aggressive, so Alex thought maybe he could gently coax this one into moving. Unfortunately, as he approached, it stayed still, its eyes on him, closely watching. Alex knew it wouldn't do to risk startling it or making any moves that might frighten or upset it further. Feeling overwhelmed, Alex took in his surroundings. The cave, once a symbol of beauty and adventure, now felt more like a confining prison. In this moment of solitude, his thoughts turned to his loved ones and the sea that had always been a source of joy and wonder for him. The stark realization dawned on him that this challenging situation might mark the end of his current adventure. This reflection led to a sudden epiphany about the true essence of his passion for freediving. It was never just about the thrill of exploring the unknown depths. It was also about confronting his deepest fears. Through the art of freediving, Alex had learned to face these fears directly, not just to overcome them but to emerge stronger and more resilient. This realization rekindled his spirit, reminding him of the inner strength that freediving had instilled in him. Alex knew time was quickly running out and oxygen reserves dwindling, so it was vital for his survival that he found another route out of the cave or around the shark. His survival depended on it. Before taking action, he took a moment to gather himself together before confronting this challenge head-on. Alex Thompson faced the enormous nurse shark with determination as time ticked away and his oxygen supply ran critically low. Time was running out quickly. Decisions needed to be made soon as only this seemingly non-moving shark stood between him and freedom in open sea waters. Alex was intrigued by stories of freedivers using careful movements and signals to communicate with marine life, believing in their connection between humans and ocean creatures, but now, more than ever, trusting in it. Slowly extending his hand towards the shark, not in an attempt to touch it, but just as an act of showmanship to demonstrate he meant no harm. Alex made sure no contact was made between them. Hence, the shark knew there would be no threat from his approach. Alex was startled to find that the shark had taken notice of his movements, watching every step he took with a keen gaze. With deep breathing and making a gentle pushing motion with his hands that mimicked water flow. To his amazement, the shark moved just enough for an opening in its path, creating just enough room for a passageway between its jaws for Alex to push against with respect for their home environment. Alex allowed ample time before giving it space, showing respect and admiration for each species' home environment. Once his passageway was clear, Alex recognized this was his chance to strike. As he approached, he slowly passed nearer the shark without startling it. While doing so, he marveled at its grace and power as it reminded him of nature's wonder and the intricate balance of the underwater environment. Alex emerged from the cave's mouth to see the light of the surface shining down, his lungs gasping for air as he kicked upwards to break through into the open sea and find safety. Finally making it, he gasped for air as the sun warmed his face. He had made it. He was safe. Alex floated peacefully through the water, gazing back at the cave and seeing its shadow. His feelings of gratitude were profound, not just for surviving, but for learning something very valuable about oceanic environments, that they held immense beauty, but demanded respect and understanding from human visitors. Alex later shared his tale with others, speaking of the stunning coral reef, exploring new depths and finally meeting his nurse shark friend. This inspiring account became a testimony to courage, nature preservation, and the profound, sometimes unsaid, relationship between humans and ocean environments. As time passed, Alex found himself drawn back into freediving, relishing both its freedom and challenge. With each dive came an increased awareness of ocean life. Each dive felt like an honor that allowed him to discover not just new depths in his diving, but also himself, and explore inner areas like courage and kindness. Alex found great solace in exploring the Andaman Sea with its clear waters and rich marine life. He became more fascinated with every dive he took beneath its waves. After confronting his deepest fears in its depths, he had come out as not just a survivor, but as an advocate of the underwater world. In the stark and boundless waters of the Arctic, close to the shores of Greenland, it was the year 2015. The exploration ship, known as the Aurora Borealis, was a fortress designed to breach the ice-filled seas, sheltering a group of devoted scientists. This group, under the guidance of Dr. Alexander Hart, embarked on a journey to scrutinize the impact of climate alteration on the fragile ecosystem of the Arctic. Alongside Alexander was the marine expert Dr. Sofia Morales, the climate specialist Dr. Ethan Wright, and a team of proficient sailors and research aides. This vessel, the Aurora Borealis, had transformed into their sanctuary and study hub, outfitted with state-of-the-art apparatus to track environmental shifts and aquatic life. Yet as they delved deeper into the icy solitude, they unknowingly trespassed into the realm of a being as venerable as the ice itself, a colossal Greenland shark. The Greenland territory at the junction of the Arctic and Atlantic Oceans was a realm of stark contrasts. Its expansive ice fields and the surrounding cold waters were as magnificent as they were ruthless. The team had selected this spot for its pivotal role in climate change research, as it was among the rare locales on the globe where one could observe Greenland sharks in their native surroundings. These sharks, secretive behemoths of the abyss, were infrequently observed yet held in high esteem through local folklore. Known for their centuries-long lifespan, they glided silently under the ice, embodying the wild and untamed spirit of the Arctic. The narrative unfolded as the aurora borealis made its way through an especially thick ice pack. The researchers were thrilled, having amassed invaluable insights over the preceding weeks. However, their enthusiasm quickly turned to concern when an unexpected shift in the ice entrapped the vessel. The ice, clamping around them like a vice, immobilized the ship. As the team devised their next steps, a minor mishap led to a crew member sustaining an injury. It was a trivial cut, yet in the Arctic silence, the scent of blood traveled far under the ice. It was this very scent that roused the ancient predator from its slumber. Attracted by the hint of easy prey, the Greenland shark began to encircle the immobilized vessel. Invisible but ever-present, its approach was slow, calculated, and terrifyingly patient. Dr. Alexander Hart, with his weathered beard and eyes that had witnessed countless storms, pondered their predicament. Sophia, with her profound understanding of marine life, noted the shift in underwater currents. Ethan, with his unmatched climate insight, realized the ice would not release its grip easily. Confronted with a critical choice, the team deliberated. Awaiting rescue was akin to playing dice with their lives, but to traverse the ice and enter the water meant facing the very essence of Arctic peril. They chose to forge a pathway through the ice, an arduous and hazardous task, but their sole chance at freedom. As they toiled, the shark loomed, a sinister specter beneath the ice. The crew, aware of the lurking danger, advanced with urgency and caution, their progress slow yet persistent. The Arctic, with its awe-inspiring beauty, remained indifferent to their plight. The aurora borealis illuminated the skies, casting otherworldly lights over the ice, starkly contrasting the gloom that lay beneath. The tension within the team was tangible, each member conscious that every disturbance could draw the predator's gaze. Nonetheless, they pressed on, driven by a desire to survive and the bonds forged through shared trials. Approaching the icefield's perimeter, the shark made its presence unmistakably felt. A vast, menacing shadow glided beneath the fragile ice underfoot. Its mere sight, even through the opaque waters, sent chills through them. The inevitable confrontation they had wished to evade was upon them. Yet this was no ordinary adversary, and they were no ordinary foes. They were scholars endowed with knowledge and an appreciation for the natural world that few could claim. They acknowledged the risks of their venture, but also understood that survival in the Arctic demanded respect for all its residents, even the most formidable. In an age-old ballet, humans and sharks circled one another, each evaluating the other's strength and intentions. The researchers, leveraging their grasp of marine behaviors, sought to dissuade the shark, generating vibrations in the water that mimicked those of a larger predator as daylight faded into the Arctic night's perpetual twilight. The researchers, having navigated the shifting ice with great effort, were physically and mentally exhausted. Their survival tactics, while successful, exacted a toll. Dr. Alexander Hart, who had steered the team with unwavering composure, endured frostbite on his hands, a direct consequence of handling ropes and tools in sub-zero temperatures, and his gloves were compromised during the intensive labor. Sophia Morales exhibited bruises and a significant laceration on her leg, evidence of a dangerous slip on the ice while transporting scientific gear across the treacherous surface. Ethan Wright, in his attempt to generate noise diversions for the shark, inadvertently lured a seal, resulting in a frantic episode that left him with a sprained ankle and several abrasions. Their strategy afforded them critical time, enabling them to reach a more stable ice flow. From this point, they signaled for assistance, their distress flares cutting through the twilight. Rescue arrived as the ice shifted once more, this time creating a passage for the aurora borealis. The researchers were salvaged, their mission was incomplete, but their lives were preserved. The shark, its curiosity quenched, vanished into the depths, leaving behind a narrative that would echo through the ages. Despite their injuries, the team's morale was uplifted by the arrival of the rescue helicopters, their rotors a comforting sound amidst the Arctic's quietude. The rescuers, adept in polar operations, promptly evaluated the situation and administered first aid. They employed stretchers for those incapacitated, ensuring everyone's safe transfer to the helicopters. When they came back, The researchers received medical attention commensurate with the severity of their injuries. Alexander's frostbite was treated with debridement, luckily without long-term repercussions. Sophia's wound needed suturing and vigilant infection prevention, a frequent hazard in polar settings. Ethan's ankle, though sprained, was not fractured as initially feared, and he was advised to rest and rehabilitation for a complete recovery. The physical recovery was merely one facet of their ordeal. The psychological aftermath of their encounter with the Greenland shark, their survival struggle in one of Earth's most relentless environments, and the acknowledgement of their frailty left indelible marks on each of them. Yet it also cemented a bond stronger than the ice that had trapped them. In the weeks and months that followed, they leaned on each other through the recovery process, exchanging their stories and the wisdom gained. Reflecting on their ordeal, the team recognized a profound lesson beyond their scientific pursuits: the formidable force of nature and the fragile equilibrium that governs life in the Arctic. Their experience not only tested their physical endurance, but also intensified their commitment to protecting these remote and vulnerable ecosystems. Dr. Alexander Hart, Dr. Sophia Morales, and Dr. Ethan Wright returned to their respective disciplines with a refreshed sense of purpose. Their brush with the Greenland shark reinforced the need for respect and caution in human engagements with the natural realm. Their Arctic escapade became a testament to the challenges faced by explorers of the unknown, a reminder of the simultaneous beauty and peril inherent in the natural world. As the Aurora Borealis departed from Greenland's shores, its crew cast a final glance at the ice, aware they had left behind a piece of themselves, interwoven with the timeless epic of the Arctic. Alex Thompson had an ambitious dream. His passion lay in capturing photos of marine animals that few others ever witnessed firsthand. As an underwater photographer, he excelled. With pictures of colorful fish, playful dolphins, and shy octopuses already under his belt, he wanted something different, something most had not experienced firsthand before deep-sea creatures living deep beneath the ocean surface. Alex chose Malpelo Island in Colombia for his next major adventure. This remote island was known for its abundance of underwater life, making it the ideal setting to capture images of rare aquatic life. To ensure a successful trip, he thoroughly prepared by checking his camera, diving suit, and oxygen tanks before heading out into the deep sea, as running out of oxygen was no option in such environments. Finally, Alex had his chance to dive into the depths near Malpelo Island. The water had turned an inky black as Alex descended further beneath the sun's light. It felt like entering another world, a silent, mysterious realm where few humans had ever ventured. Alex discovered amazing sights as he explored deeper. Strange fish with glowing lights, plants that seemed to come from another planet, and massive rock formations rising from the sea floor like mountains. Exhilarated at what he had found before him, he took picture after picture to remember these incredible sights forever. Alex noticed something large and graceful moving through the water. An immense hammerhead shark, one of the ocean's most dangerous predators. Though not usually harmful to humans, such predators could still prove deadly in an isolated setting like this one. Alex knew he must remain extremely wary. Even when not typically dangerous themselves, such creatures could pose risks that were beyond human protection in this part of the deep sea. Alex was intrigued when the shark appeared curious of him. It circled close, gradually getting closer. Alex remembered all he knew about sharks, magnificent marine animals essential to maintaining marine ecosystem health. While taking slow breaths to conserve oxygen reserves, Alex felt an odd mixture of fear and excitement. This moment would allow him to capture something no one else had captured before. Unfortunately, things went off course quickly as Alex attempted to position himself for the ideal shot and accidentally got too close to a rocky outcrop. His equipment got caught, leaving him helpless as the giant hammerhead continued its relentless pursuit of him. Alex struggled to escape, yet every movement only made matters worse. As his oxygen supply began dwindling rapidly, panic set in. Deep in the ocean and trapped by an enormous hammerhead shark hunting ground with limited air supplies, Alex felt helpless as time ran out before oxygen could replenish his system and save his life. As the darkness of the sea began to close in on him, Alex realized it was time to face his deepest fears and find a way out, and quickly, before it consumed all his oxygen. With sharks lurking nearby and oxygen running low, his brain had to work fast if he wanted a chance to return home safely. With only limited air left for breathing and low oxygen reserves left in his tank, planning was crucial if Alex wanted any chance at survival. As Alex stared into the shadow of a gigantic hammerhead shark, his mind raced for solutions. The depth of the ocean seemed to echo his quick heartbeat. Each second felt like an eternity, each breath measured and precious. Alex remembered tales of divers using calmness and intelligence to escape dangerous situations successfully, drawing strength from these experiences to act quickly yet thoughtfully in order to survive. As oxygen began to run low, Alex took steps to conserve air by slowing his breathing and taking deep, calm breaths. This would buy him crucial minutes for planning an escape strategy. Once this task had been accomplished, Alex turned his focus back onto entanglement, inspecting gear stuck onto rocks on which they had become caught. It turned out that Alex's camera strap had become his downfall. Now bound up and potentially deadly, Alex attempted to untangle the strap using precise movements. A curious hammerhead circled, seemingly more interested than aggressive, providing some small comfort during his precarious situation. Alex carefully removed his dive knife from his belt. Now more than ever before, the standard diving tool felt like his lifeline. With deliberate care, he cut through the camera strap to free his camera. Although this loss caused great sorrow for him, survival became his priority, and one hand free allowed him to attempt untangling all of his equipment. As Alex struggled for freedom, his thoughts turned toward the hammerhead shark. This majestic predator had fallen victim to the ocean's unforgiving nature just like him. They both simply needed a chance at survival. Realizing this helped spark an idea. Rather than viewing sharks as threats or obstacles in his path to freedom, Alex began seeing them as allies to help him escape his prison cell. Carefully, Alex positioned himself to make eye contact with the shark. Utilizing slow, deliberate movements, he mimicked peaceful gestures used by divers to communicate with marine life. Much to his astonishment, its circling stopped, with large eyes gazing upon him with what appeared like genuine curiosity. As his oxygen levels rapidly declined, and with the shark temporarily at bay, Alex took advantage of his situation by disengaging from any remaining entanglements and slowly ascending toward the surface while keeping an eye on the hammerhead shark, perhaps satisfied by their strange encounter. Eventually, it gradually receded into darkness, leaving Alex alone. Alex slowly and deliberately made his ascent back up to the surface to prevent decompression sickness, with every inch closer feeling like an accomplishment, and every breath being treated like a gift from above. At last, he broke through, gasping for air as the sun's rays welcomed him back into life. Alex had returned to his boat. Surrounded by his crew, he told his terrifying story of adventure on the deep sea, where its beauty and danger had taught him invaluable lessons about respect, survival, and treading the thin line between fear and wonder. Alex's story quickly spread, sparking both curiosity and caution about the depths of the sea. His experience with a giant hammerhead shark became a testament to how understanding and respect for nature's creatures can have lasting impacts. Alex's journey from an adventurous endeavor to capture the beauty of the deep sea to a terrifying encounter with one of its fiercest predators has earned him a profound respect for marine life. His experience highlights its unpredictable nature, as well as the need for preparation, calmness, and respect toward all its inhabitants. In the vibrant city of Cancun, Mexico, known for its crystal-clear waters and thrilling water sports, Ethan Turner, a young and adventurous tourist from Canada, was excited to try parasailing for the first time. The warm, sunny day with a clear blue sky provided the perfect conditions for an unforgettable experience over the Caribbean Sea. Ethan, with his characteristic enthusiasm, listened intently to the safety briefing from the parasailing instructor Carlos. Carlos, a seasoned expert with years of experience, explained the do's and don'ts, ensuring Ethan felt comfortable and secure with the harness and equipment. With a reassuring pat on the back, Carlos signaled the boat captain to start the engine, and soon Ethan was soaring into the air, his parasail billowing brightly against the backdrop of the sun. From his aerial vantage point, Ethan was mesmerized by the panoramic views of Cancun's coastline, the white sandy beaches blending seamlessly into the turquoise waters. The thrill of floating high above, with the wind in his face and the gentle tug of the parasail, was exhilarating. Below him, the water was a tapestry of blues and greens, teeming with life. As Ethan enjoyed his flight, the boat maneuvered through the water, guided by Carlos's experienced hands. The laughter and cheers from other tourists on the boat reached Ethan, adding to the moment's joy. Everything was perfect, an adventure Ethan had dreamed of, a story he couldn't wait to share. However, as the boat took a wide turn, an unexpected gust of wind caught Ethan's parasail, causing a sudden jolt in the line. Ethan's heart raced as he felt himself dropping closer to the water's surface. Carlos and the boat captain worked quickly to stabilize the situation, but before they could regain control, Ethan found himself skimming the water. The touch of the cool water was initially a thrill, an unexpected part of the adventure, until a shadow beneath the surface caught Ethan's eye. A giant shark, attracted by the commotion and the unusual presence in its territory, approached with a speed and precision that belied its size. Panic set in as Ethan realized the danger he was in. The serene beauty of the Caribbean Sea had turned into a suspense scene. Carlos shouted instructions from the boat, trying to reassure Ethan and guide him on what to do. But the fear and the wind made it hard to hear. As the shark drew closer, Ethan's mind raced for solutions. He tried to lift his legs to make himself less accessible, but the dip and sway of the parasail made it difficult to control his movements. The boat crew, realizing the gravity of the situation, frantically worked to reel Ethan in. But the process was slow, and every second felt like an eternity. The tension in the air was palpable as Carlos and the boat crew worked with desperate urgency, their efforts focused on pulling Ethan back to safety. The winch whirred loudly, slowly retracting the line. But the shark, a dark silhouette against the sunlit water, continued its ominous circling, its dorsal fin cutting through the surface like a blade. Suspended between sky and sea, Ethan felt a surge of fear, unlike anything he'd ever experienced. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing the ticking of an unseen clock. Below, the shark's movements became more deliberate, as if it was biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. On the boat, the atmosphere was frantic. Carlos shouted encouragement, trying to keep Ethan calm, while the captain pushed the engine to its limit, attempting to create distance between Ethan and the shark. The other tourists, once excited spectators, now watched in stunned silence, their cheers replaced by hushed prayers. As the winch continued its slow work, Ethan dipped closer to the water with each sway of the parasail. The cool spray of the sea brushed against his skin, starkly contrasting the heat of his fear. He knew he had to keep his legs up to make himself as small a target as possible, but fatigue was setting in, making every movement a struggle. Sensing the vulnerability above, the shark made a sudden, swift approach, its sleek body cutting through the water with terrifying speed. Seeing the shark's advance, Ethan braced himself, his mind racing with images of what might come next. But fate intervened in those critical seconds. Just as the shark neared, a wave, more significant than the rest, rose, momentarily blocking its path and disrupting its trajectory. The unexpected barrier gave the boat crew the precious time they needed. With a final Herculean effort, they managed to hoist Ethan out of the shark's reach, pulling him back towards the boat at a pace that defied their earlier struggles. Ethan's relief was overwhelming as he felt himself rising away from the water. His breaths came in ragged gasps, a mixture of fear and gratitude filling his chest as he was finally brought aboard. The crew and his fellow tourists erupted into spontaneous applause, their relief as palpable as his own. Back on the boat, with solid ground beneath his feet, Ethan collapsed into the arms of Carlos, who clapped him on the back with a mixture of relief and caution. The captain steered them back to shore, the boat cutting through the water with a newfound urgency, eager to leave the site of the near disaster behind. The incident became the talk of Cancun, a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of adventure sports and the ever-present dangers that lurked beneath the waves. Ethan's story, with its dramatic arc from exhilaration to terror and back to safety, was shared far and wide, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the quick thinking of those who had come to his rescue. As Ethan reflected on his experience, the adrenaline of the moment gave way to a deeper appreciation for life's fragility and the unexpected challenges it presented. His brush with danger in the tropical waters of Cancun would stay with him forever, a narrative of survival that he would carry into every future adventure. a reminder that the line between thrill and threat was as thin as the parasail that had taken him into the sky. In the vast open waters of False Bay, South Africa, known as the gateway to the infamous Shark Alley, a competitive freediver named Mia Thompson prepared to test the limits of her abilities. Mia, known for her daring and skill, had set her sights on a new challenge: to break the record for the deepest freedive in these shark-inhabited waters. The ocean here was beautiful but notorious for its population of great white sharks, the sea's apex predators. Mia was not only drawn by the thrill of the challenge, but also by a deep respect for the ocean and its inhabitants. The morning of the attempt dawned clear and bright, with the sun casting a shimmering path across the calm sea. Mia stood on the boat's edge, taking deep, focused breaths, readying her body and mind for the dive. Her team, including safety divers and marine biologists, watched with admiration and concern. They understood the risks involved but also trusted Mia's skill and preparation. Mia slipped into the water with a final deep breath, her body cutting through the surface with barely a splash. She descended swiftly, propelled by her powerful kicks, her eyes focused on the depths below. The water around her grew darker as she went more profound, the sounds of the surface world fading away until all that remained was the beating of her heart and the slow rhythm of her breath. As Mia approached the target depth, she felt a surge of adrenaline. The ocean floor loomed below her, a vast expanse of shadow and light. It was in this moment of solitude and focus that Mia sensed she was not alone. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught a glimpse of a massive shape moving in the water. A great white shark, drawn by the disturbance in its territory, was approaching her, its movements deliberate and curious. Mia's heart raced, but she remained calm. She knew that panic would only attract the shark further. Drawing on her understanding of shark behavior and extensive training, she maintained her composure, using slow, controlled movements to signal that she was not a threat. As the shark circled closer, Mia prepared to use her free-diving skills to make a controlled ascent, hoping to surface safely without provoking an attack. The encounter with the great white shark was the ultimate test of Mia's bravery and respect for the ocean's apex predators. It was a moment that balanced the thin line between courage and recklessness, a test of her ability to face the ocean's most significant challenge with grace and respect. As Mia began her ascent, her every move was calculated, designed to minimize any perceived threat to the great white shark now escorting her through the depths. The shark, a formidable silhouette against the dim light from above, continued to circle, its curiosity piqued but not aggressive. Mia focused on her training, using gentle movements to rise towards the surface, her eyes never leaving the massive predator. The distance between them slowly increased as Mia neared the surface, her lungs aching for air but her mind remarkably clear. She broke through the water's surface, gasping for breath, the sunlight warming her face. The safety team rushed to her side, relief evident in their eyes. Mia looked back at the water, half expecting the shark to follow, but it remained deep, a shadow fading into the blue. Mia reflected on the encounter on the boat, wrapped in a blanket. She had achieved her goal, not just in terms of depth, but also in facing the ultimate challenge of the ocean. The experience was a profound reminder of the respect owed to these majestic creatures, and the fine line between pursuing one's passions and respecting nature's boundaries. Mia's story spread, inspiring both awe and debate. It underscored the importance of understanding and respecting the ocean's apex predators. It highlighted the personal growth that comes from confronting fears head-on. For Mia, the dive was more than a record. It was a life-changing encounter that deepened her connection to the sea and its most formidable inhabitants. Mia Green was an adventurous spirit who eagerly explored her surroundings in the Maldives. On a beautiful morning in April, she decided to kayak over its sparkling waters, eager to discover vibrant coral reefs. When Mia paddled away from shore, she felt an immense rush of joy as her spirit was free from discovery. Mia marveled as she paddled her kayak over clear blue waters. Schools of colorful fish darted around beneath while coral created an underwater garden. It was everything Mia could ever ask for and more. But her peaceful dream adventure took an unexpected turn when shadows moved beneath her kayak. Reef sharks were known for being harmless, yet their sudden interest in numbers could be intimidating. When Mia took out her kayak for an early morning paddle, she was startled when several reef sharks suddenly found it intriguing. They began swimming toward it with curiosity and grace, giving Mia cause for alarm. Reef sharks could often be found close to humans, but never more so than now. Mia's kayak wobbled dangerously before it suddenly capsized and sent her plunging into the cool ocean. It took Mia by surprise as the cold shock water took away her breath as she surfaced, gasping for air. Now stranded with no kayak on hand and curious sharks surrounding them, she was helpless to protect herself against further disaster. Mia struggled with panic as the hours passed, recalling safety tips learned earlier, such as remaining still, conserving energy, and staying afloat. She struggled to remain calm as the minutes ticked by with no way back and her kayak seemingly unreachable. Mia found herself facing an uncertain and ever more dire outcome of her situation. Mia struggled to remain calm as sharks circled, their black eyes watching her closely. Panic could only worsen her situation further as she trod in water, trying to stay afloat and watch for predators. She finally understood the gravity of her situation, alone and trapped in the middle of an ocean with sharks as her only allies. This moment would test both her inner strength and resilience as an individual. Mia mustered her courage and began working to get right back to her kayak, an almost impossible task in her current condition. Still, she knew it was her only chance to escape from the water and away from sharks circling it. Every move she made was calculated, every effort concentrated towards survival. As the sun continued its journey across the sky, Mia found herself caught between its beauty and her difficult situation. A battle of wills ensued between Mia's determined attempts at remaining calm against the unpredictable nature of sea life and its inhabitants. Mia floated among reef sharks as her mind raced with possibilities. Mia had long used her overturned kayak as her lifeline, so her immediate goal was to right it without alarming the sharks. Tapping into an unknown reservoir of calm she drew upon, Mia started moving towards it slowly but deliberately, with movements tailored specifically to avoid making any waves or drawing attention to herself from them. The sharks' curiosity kept them circling through the water near Mia like water skimmers, their sleek bodies gliding with ease across its surface. She reached her kayak, her heart pounding hard in her chest, before taking a moment to compose herself. Flipping back the kayak would require not only physical strength, but patience and precision. Mia took a deep breath before positioning herself at the side of her kayak and employing techniques she had learned, but had never imagined applying in such an urgent situation. Pushing down on one side, Mia tried using bodyweight leverage to turn over the kayak, but failed miserably. Nevertheless, she prepared herself for another attempt as time rapidly ticked away in the water. Mia made another attempt, this time propelled by adrenaline. Her kayak started turning, and gradually, after pushing harder, it finally flipped upright on its own, bobbing on top of the water's surface. A wave of relief came over her, but she knew that there was still no guarantee as sharks still circled closely monitoring Mia. Mia faced the daunting task of getting back into her kayak without capsizing or being eaten by sharks, taking time to consider her strategy before approaching from behind it to minimize the risks of capsizing again. After carefully considering all possible approaches and pulling herself slowly up onto it using slow and controlled movements, her muscles protesting due to all that effort in the water, she successfully returned herself to it. Mia took a deep breath as she assessed her situation. The shore was still distant, and sharks seemed intent on attacking. Now that she had secured herself aboard her boat, however, Mia realized she had an advantage against them and searched the water for her paddle, only to discover it had likely vanished during all the chaos. Mia struggled not to give in to despair, searching the kayak for anything she could use to paddle. Her hands found an old waterproof gear bag piece, not ideal but would do in an emergency, which allowed her to swim with all her strength toward shore safety. With each stroke coming from fear mixed with hope, she forced forward in pursuit of safety. As she paddled, Mia noticed the sharks scattering, their interest waning as she moved further from their territory. Mia felt the sun beating down on her and felt her muscles tighten up as the distance began to shrink with each stroke, taking her one step closer to safety. Mia had finally returned. Exhausted from her journey, Mia collapsed onto the beach to rest her tired body and mind. Yet as she lay there taking in air, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude towards the ocean and all its creatures. Mia's journey had begun as an attempt to seek thrills, yet had quickly transformed into an invaluable lesson on survival, resilience, and the perseverance of the human spirit. Mia knew this experience would remain with her for life as an everlasting reminder of both its beauty and dangers in nature. Mia realized as she gazed back upon the ocean in its peaceful late-afternoon glow that her adventure wasn't simply about outwitting sharks and sea life. Rather, it had been an inward journey into herself, one that had brought her face to face with uncertainty and forced her out of her comfort zone, leaving her forever changed by experience. The year was 2013, and amidst the boundless expanse of the Indian Ocean, there existed a marvel unrealized by civilization, a coral sanctuary of unparalleled grandeur. Termed Serenity's Cradle by the indigenous populace, this underwater was pulsated with life, a symphony of hues dancing beneath the azure canopy. Yet beneath this tranquil facade, a saga of endurance was etched into the annals of those daring enough to delve into its recesses. Here was Alexandra, Alex Jennings, a youthful marine scholar consumed by an insatiable ardor for the wonders of the deep. Serenity's Cradle beckoned her with a siren call, presenting an opportunity to unravel the wondrous dance of climate change upon coral reefs. Armed with her scientific apparatus, Alex plunged into the heart of the reef, oblivious to the ordeal that awaited her, one that would test her mettle beyond the realms of academia. As the sun's golden tendrils caressed the reef, Alex found herself trapped by the aquatic spectacle. Shoals of iridescent fish moved around her, their chromatic scales reflecting the sun's radiance. She marveled at the coral's vibrancy, a testament to vitality yet also a sad harbinger of the delicate equilibrium within these aqueous realms. Yet tranquility swiftly transmuted into turmoil. A cohort of reef sharks drawn by unseen currents descended upon Alex with predatory intent. In the labyrinthine confines of the reef, escape routes dwindled, and her erstwhile fascination metamorphosed into dread. The sharks, typically aloof toward humans, exhibited unprecedented aggression. Bereft of functional equipment and cut off from surface communication, Alex found herself perilously exposed. Alex's struggle for survival would become a parable of the sea's erratic nature. Leveraging her understanding of marine behavior, she eschewed panic, recognizing that erratic movements would only exacerbate her predicament. Drawing upon her knowledge of the shark's sensory acumen, she adopted a strategy of stillness, minimizing her presence against the reef's backdrop. Minutes stretched forever, the sharks circling a relentless reminder of mortality's specter. Through a blend of ingenuity and sheer resolve, Alex carefully charted her path to salvation, exploiting the reef's contours to obfuscate her presence. Each movement was a calculated gambit to evade detection. Eventually, the sharks, deeming her neither a threat nor quarry, dispersed, allowing Alex to breach the water's surface, gasping for the precious elixir of life. Upon the solid ground, the crucible of Serenity's Cradle transformed Alex, galvanizing within her an unyielding commitment to exploring the depths of marine predation and its ecological repercussions. Her harrowing odyssey, disseminated through scholarly circles and media conduits alike, cast her as an emissary for the delicate equilibrium of oceanic ecosystems. Returning to her vocation with renewed zeal, Alex embarked on a crusade to unravel the intricacies of predator-prey dynamics in coral ecosystems. Her hypothesis posited a link between aggressive predation and broader environmental perturbations. Her scholarly endeavors garnered global acclaim, fostering support for a sweeping inquiry into the plight of imperiled coral bastions worldwide. Simultaneously, Alex emerged as an ardent advocate for oceanic conservation, her voice resonating across international forums and documentary platforms. Her message was unmistakable. The ocean's splendor veils a world imperiled, its denizens motivated by survival rather than hostility. Time marched inexorably onward, and Alex's contributions to marine scholarship earned her laurels aplenty. Yet the specter of Serenity's Cradle lingered in her consciousness, a tableau of triumph amidst tribulation awaiting resolution. Fueled by an indomitable spirit and an imperative need for closure, Alex orchestrated a return to the Indian Ocean's depths. This time, she went in the company of seasoned divers and scholars, each a luminary in their respective fields. Their mission transcended mere inquiry. It sought to encapsulate the majesty and fragility of the reef, kindling a global outcry against climate-induced perils. As the team delved anew into Serenity's cradle, Alex was engulfed by a maelstrom of emotions. Amidst the kaleidoscopic profusion of coral life, she sensed a kinship, an ineffable communion with the subaqueous realm. Their endeavors bore fruit as signs of regeneration manifested within the reef's precincts. Coral bleaching receded, and once dwindling species experienced a resurgence. This testament to resilience invigorated Alex's optimism for the future. The denouement arrived amidst a fortuitous dive where Alex found herself yet another time amidst a congregation of reef predators. Yet this encounter diverged markedly from its predecessor. Armed with newfound comprehension and reverence, Alex beheld the sharks with awe rather than trepidation. Their languid circling bore witness to an unspoken accord between humanity and the abyssal domain. Emerging from the depths, Alex embraced the epiphany that this communion symbolized. Her journey had come full circle, from the throes of adversity to the vanguard of conservation. The lessons gleaned from Serenity's cradle would serve as her lodestar, guiding her crusade to safeguard the oceanic tapestry and its residents. In the years to come, Alexandra Jennings's legacy would be etched in the annals of marine conservation. Her saga, a fusion of survival, scholarship, and advocacy, stands as a clarion call for humanity's stewardship of the natural world. In the shimmering waters of the Florida Keys, Emma, a bright-eyed novice scuba diver, was about to embark on an adventure that she hoped would be the highlight of her vacation. Having recently completed her scuba certification, Emma was eager to explore the underwater world. And what better place to start than a sunken shipwreck renowned for its abundant marine life? The Florida Keys, a beautiful chain of tropical islands, are home to some of the most stunning coral reefs and shipwrecks in the world, offering divers the chance to explore an underwater treasure trove of history and natural beauty. The shipwreck Emma and her group planned to visit was a famous site resting on the ocean floor. It attracted divers from all over the world. As the dive boat neared the dive site, Emma's excitement grew. She listened intently to the dive master's briefing, absorbing every detail. The plan was to dive down to the wreck, explore its nooks and crannies, and observe the vibrant fish and coral that had made the wreck their home. Emma checked her equipment one last time, making sure her air tank was full, and her gear was properly secured. With a final check from the dive master, she took a deep breath and followed the group into the crystal-clear water. The descent was thrilling. As the surface light faded, the ghostly form of the shipwreck emerged from the depths, its hull encrusted with corals and teeming with life. Schools of colorful fish darted in and out of the wreck while rays glided gracefully overhead. Emma was mesmerized by the beauty of it all, feeling a sense of peace and wonder as she floated weightlessly in this alien world. However, as the group ventured deeper into the wreck, Emma's inexperience began to show. She struggled to control her buoyancy, accidentally kicking up sand from the ocean floor and disturbing a cloud of sediment. Unbeknownst to Emma, this commotion caught the attention of a lurking predator, a massive bull shark attracted by the sudden disturbance. The bull shark, curious and cautious, began to circle the outskirts of the wreck, its silhouette barely visible in the murky water beyond. Emma, absorbed in her exploration, remained unaware of the danger slowly closing in. As the group moved further into the heart of the wreck, navigating through narrow passageways and dimly lit chambers, Emma's air supply steadily decreased. The excitement of the dive, combined with her lack of experience, had led her to breathe more heavily than she should have, and now her gauge showed that her air was running low. It was then, in the silence of the underwater world, that Emma felt a change in the current. A shadow loomed larger, and the fish around her scattered in sudden fear. Turning slowly, Emma came face to face with the bull shark, its eyes fixed on her, its massive body moving effortlessly through the water. Panic surged through Emma. She knew she had to remain calm, but the sight of the shark so close and so powerful filled her with an instinctive fear. Her heart raced and her breathing quickened, depleting her remaining air even faster. Remembering the dive master's instructions on encountering sharks, Emma tried to make herself appear larger, hoping to deter the predator. But with her air supply critically low and the shark showing no signs of leaving, Emma realized she had to make a decision. She needed to navigate her way out of the wreck and reach the surface before it was too late. In the shadowy waters of the wreck, with the bull shark's silhouette haunting the periphery of her vision, Emma knew her situation was dire. Her breaths, once deep and measured, now came in short, panicked gasps, her air supply dwindling rapidly. The realization that she was truly alone in this, with only her wits to rely on, settled heavily on her shoulders. The Florida Keys, with their vibrant marine life and sunlit waters above, felt worlds away. But within Emma, a spark of determination ignited. She refused to let fear dictate her fate. Recalling the layout of the shipwreck from the dive master's briefing, Emma began to navigate her way through the maze of corridors and chambers, her movements deliberate and cautious to conserve what little air she had left. The shark, ever present, seemed to sense her resolve, its movements becoming more deliberate as if weighing its options. Emma remembered reading that sharks, despite their fearsome reputation, are often curious rather than aggressive. With this thought in mind, she focused on projecting calmness, hoping to dissuade the shark from seeing her as a threat or prey. As she made her way through the wreck, Emma encountered several dead ends, each moment of retracing her steps a bitter reminder of the precious air she was losing. It was a race against time, her breaths becoming more labored with each passing minute. But Emma pressed on, driven by an instinctual urge to survive. Then, just as hope seemed to wane, Emma spotted a shaft of light filtering through a break in the wreck's hull. Energy surged through her at the sight of the exit, a beacon of hope in the oppressive gloom. She swam towards the light, her movements now fueled by adrenaline. Emerging from the wreck, Emma found herself in open water, the surface visible above, a vast expanse of freedom. But her relief was short-lived as she realized the bull shark was still with her, its massive form gliding silently between her and safety. In a moment of clarity, Emma realized that although her fear was natural, it should not dictate her actions. She recalled the dive master's guidance. Sharks respond to confidence. She needed to remain calm, maintain eye contact, and gradually move toward safety. Gathering every ounce of courage, Emma steadied her gaze on the shark, showing it she was not prey. Slowly, she began her ascent to the surface, her movements deliberate, never turning her back on the colossal creature. The shark, its curiosity seemingly satisfied, circled her once more before turning away, disappearing into the deep blue, leaving Emma to complete her journey to the surface alone. Breaking through the water's surface, Emma took in a deep, life-affirming breath of fresh air. The sun warmed her face, a stark contrast to the cold, dark depths she had just escaped. As she floated, waiting for the dive boat to retrieve her, Emma reflected on her ordeal. The encounter with the bull shark, terrifying as it was, had taught her a profound lesson about herself and the natural world. She had faced her deepest fears and emerged stronger and more resilient. This experience, she knew, would stay with her forever, a testament to the power of courage and the indomitable will to survive. Back on the boat, surrounded by her fellow divers, Emma shared her story. It was a tale of adventure, danger, and the unexpected respect formed between a diver and one of the ocean's most formidable predators. Emma's journey had begun as a novice diver seeking thrills in the Florida Keys. Still, it ended as a survivor, forever changed by the depths and the creatures that call them home. Amid the Mediterranean area, where the chromatic heavens merged seamlessly with the sea, lay an enchanting island celebrated for its translucent waters and lively underwater realm. The summer of 1992 was a season of peak fascination for this haven, attracting a mix of adventurers and those in pursuit of serenity to its idyllic beaches. Among the island's guests were Lucas Thompson, his sibling Nathan, and their lifelong companion Marcus DeLuca. The trio, navigating their late 20s, sought refuge from the drudgery of their routine professional lives, finding solace in the boundless freedom offered by the sea. Their agenda was straightforward: to immerse themselves in the Mediterranean's welcoming waters for a day of snorkeling, hoping to uncover the hidden marvels beneath its surface. As dawn broke, bathing the island in a warm, golden light, the friends, armed with snorkeling gear, stepped into the refreshing embrace of the sea. They ventured further from land, buoyed by a sense of exhilaration, oblivious to the dramatic shift their journey was about to undertake. Beneath them, the sea thrived with a vibrant tableau of life. Fish swarmed amongst the corals, and the ocean floor presented a kaleidoscope of colors. Yet as they delved deeper, the environment transformed. The waters turned chillier, the sun's rays struggled to reach them, and the lively shallows gave way to the silent, deeper waters. It was in this serene yet eerie depth that they first noticed something unsettling. Initially, the shadows they spotted seemed mere silhouettes of large fish, perhaps curious of the newcomers. However, as time progressed, these shadows took on a more sinister form. A cold realization washed over the trio. They were not alone. Surrounding them were not mere fish, but sharks, gliding through the water with unsettling ease. Panic ensued. Despite their proficiency in swimming, they understood their disadvantage in the open sea, especially encircled by a group of sharks. Their initial desperate attempts to return to shore were chaotic, inadvertently drawing the sharks' attention. In the face of mounting danger, Lucas recalled a piece he had read on maintaining calm around sharks to avoid rapid movements that could incite an attack. Sharing this knowledge with Nathan and Marcus, they attempted to regulate their breathing and pace their movements, focusing on conserving energy for the lengthy swim back. The return to the shore tested their limits, with every shadow and ripple sending waves of terror through their weary bodies. Yet with each stroke, they reminded one another of the life that awaited them beyond the sea, their families, aspirations, and the sheer joy of being on solid ground again. When the shore's sandy bed finally came into view, it brought with it a glimmer of hope. They emerged from the sea transformed, no longer the light-hearted vacationers they once were, but survivors, united by an ordeal that would forever shape their existence. In an astounding turn of events, the group of three had emerged from their dire predicament without a mark on them. Their careful strategy and unwavering determination to survive played a crucial role in their safe passage through dangerous waters and encircling threats. This escape, untouched and intact, not only intensified their survival narrative, but also shed light on the exceptional conditions under which they maintained their calm and unity. The fact that they came out physically unharmed from such a hazardous scenario brought an element of wonder to their remarkable tale, further strengthening their connection and deepening their reverence for the ocean's formidable powers. Their return, unscathed, stood as a symbol of their endurance and a glimmer of hope, illustrating that even in the most dangerous moments, solidarity and tranquility can pave the way to extraordinary escapes. The shark encounter emerged as a defining episode in the lives of Lucas, Nathan, and Marcus. It reshaped them, instilling a profound appreciation for life's delicate nature and the depth of their friendship. Their story, shared among both islanders and visitors, served as a vivid reminder of the respect the sea commands, a narrative of exhilaration, fear, and ultimately victory, underscoring that even amidst life's most dangerous currents, the essence of humanity can endure. This ordeal in the Mediterranean remained an unforgettable chapter in their lives, recounted with a blend of dread and admiration. It stood as a narrative of perseverance against all odds, a celebration of friendship's lasting power, and the unpredictable interplay between humanity and the natural world. The sea, with all its splendor and perils, now occupies a sacred place in their hearts, a testament to the day they gazed into the abyss and emerged with their lives forever changed. In the chilly waters of Gansby, South Africa, known as the Great White Shark Capital of the World, Dr. Anna Richardson prepared for a day that would mark a significant milestone in her career as a marine biologist. Her focus was on the intricate behavior patterns of great white sharks, and today's dive was to observe them up close to the safety of a shark cage. With keen eyes and a spirit undeterred by the dangers of the deep, Anna had spent years studying these majestic predators. Her work aimed to debunk myths surrounding sharks and to promote their conservation. The dive operation she joined was renowned for its commitment to safety and respect for marine life, making it the perfect partner for her research. As the boat reached the dive site, the crew began their preparations, lowering the sturdy cage into the water. Clad in her wetsuit and equipped with underwater cameras and sensors, Anna reviewed her checklist one last time. Her heart raced with anticipation from the prospect of coming face to face with the sharks and the opportunity to contribute valuable insights to marine science. The crew briefed her on the safety protocols, emphasizing the strength and reliability of the cage. The cage bars were made from high-grade steel, designed to withstand a great white shark's powerful jaws and brute strength. Anna nodded, her confidence bolstered by the crew's professionalism and the robustness of the cage. As the cage was secured, Anna descended into the water, the cold ocean enveloping her. Below, the underwater world was a murky expanse, visibility limited but sufficient for her purposes. She could make out the shadows of the marine life that called these waters home, and her anticipation grew. The first few minutes were calm, the only sounds being her breathing and the distant hum of the boat's engine. Anna's eyes adjusted to the dim light, and she began to observe the smaller fish that darted curiously around the cage. Suddenly, a shadow loomed in the distance, its size and shape unmistakable. A great white shark, its mottled gray skin, approached with a grace that belied its fearsome reputation. Anna's breath caught in her throat as she reached for her camera, her hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The shark circled the cage, its eyes seemingly fixated on Anna. She remained still, capturing every detail, from the gills pulsing with each movement to the scars that adorned its skin, each a silent testament to its life in the ocean's depths. As she focused on her work, another shadow appeared, larger and more menacing than the first. This shark, drawn by the commotion or perhaps by curiosity, moved with a purpose that sent a chill down Anna's spine. As the second great white shark approached, its size became more apparent, dwarfing the first shark that had initially captured Anna's attention. Its movements were deliberate, each flick of its tail propelling it closer to the cage with an unsettling focus. Anna's heart raced, her previous excitement tinged with a hint of apprehension. She steadied her camera, determined to document every moment, even as the situation grew tense. The shark circled the cage, its massive body casting shadows that danced across the steel bars in Anna's face. It seemed to be studying her, its dark eyes peering into the cage with a curious intelligence. Anna, a seasoned marine biologist, knew that sharks were often more curious than aggressive, but the proximity of this apex predator tested her resolve. The shark accelerated without warning. Its powerful body slammed against the cage. The impact was jarring, sending a shockwave through the structure. Anna stumbled but kept her footing, her hands gripping the bars tightly. The cage groaned under the strain, the sound of metal bending a stark reminder of the power these creatures possessed. The crew above, alerted by the commotion, sprang into action. Shouts echoed down to Anna, their urgent tones muffled by the water. The winch whirred to life, slowly raising the cage, but the undeterred shark struck again. This time, one of the bars bent inward, creating a gap that sent a surge of panic through Anna's veins. She pressed herself against the far side of the cage, her mind racing for solutions. The shark's aggressive behavior was unlike anything she had encountered in her research. It was a stark reminder of the unpredictability of the natural world, even for those who devoted their lives to understanding it. As the cage continued its ascent, Anna's fear was replaced by adrenaline. She realized that her experience, terrifying as it was, offered invaluable insight into shark behavior. Her camera, still in her hands, captured every second, the footage a testament to the raw power of nature. With mere inches to spare, the cage broke the surface, the crew pulling Anna to the boat's safety. Her relief was palpable, her breathing heavy as she recounted the encounter. The crew listened in awe, their expressions a mix of relief and disbelief. Back on shore, Anna's story spread quickly, her footage captivating everyone from fellow scientists to casual observers. It sparked discussions about shark conservation, the ethics of cage diving, and the need to respect the boundaries between humans and wildlife. Anna's encounter became a pivotal moment in her career. It reinforced her commitment to marine conservation, her respect for the creatures she studied deepening in a way she had never anticipated. While harrowing, the attack underscored the importance of coexisting with nature, acknowledging its beauty and dangers. As she shared her experience with the world, Anna's respect for the great whites of Gansbai and all marine life became a central theme in her work. Her story was a powerful reminder of the ocean's mysteries, the need for continued research, and the importance of protecting these magnificent creatures and their habitat for future generations.